Hey, how is it going? Welcome, everybody. It is May 20th, 2026. This is the RambleCast. I'm your host, Cody Toombs, and with me I have Corbin Davenport.
Hello.
It was Google I.O. week. Holy wowzers, it was Google I.O. week. Um, and Carson, don't you mean Google A.O.? Sorry, I had to. Um, old old McGoogle had a server farm. That's fair. Um, yeah, it's oh man, there was a lot. That was a lot of it. There was a lot of IO that they spilled out on everybody. Um, it burst forth with so much AI. Did I okay? So, just before we went, well, a little before we went live, I asked Corbin if he watched, and he said,
No. No, and this is the first like big tech event that I would have normally had to pay attention to for work purposes, and I didn't have to.
I, I
So,
I'm I would. I don't know how you count it, but technically, I would have thought you would have to pay attention to the Android show last week for former work purposes.
well, yeah, I mean like it would have been a thing that I'm actively involved in like getting embargoes for, and probably the last one I didn't watch live, but like I was, watching the blog posts as they went up, so it was the same thing just in a different format. But I didn't have to, and I was kind of busy yesterday, so I didn't. I just read some of the posts afterwards, and then watched or not watched, read the rest of the posts a couple hours ago. So I'm caught up now. But yeah, I did not watch it live. Based on the contents of all of the blog posts, I think I would have died watching this. The last like two or three Google I/Os have been insufferable. I wrote the blog post about the one that I think was two I/Os ago, where that was the one where they announced the initial like AI overviews in Google, and which very quickly followed up by the eating rocks and glue. And everyone since then has just been entirely AI stuff, different ways of doing the same thing. There's some like kind of interesting stuff in there too. Like some of the model upgrades are interesting. Um, and even if you're like, if you're a designated AI hater, which I understand, then all of the announcements about the upgraded models being smaller and more power efficient are good, because it's how we, you know, stop the world from being consumed by data center construction. So there's always like a little bit of interesting stuff. Like I've got a little bit of Android XR in here. Not as much Android XR news as I was hoping for, but I knew I would probably be disappointed there.
Yeah.
And even the people who wanted the Android XR glasses were left disappointed because they pushed off the actual glasses with the screens in them to a later date. So, well, I mean, we'll get to that when we get to that. But yeah, I did not watch it. It was a little treat to myself of like, I don't have to do this right now, so I won't. I know I'm not going to enjoy it. It's not fun. I will, whenever like WWDC happens, that would probably be something I'll watch live. But yeah, I knew I wasn't going to enjoy most of it. So better ways to spend my time than that.
So I watched, well, of the keynote itself. I okay. Let me start by saying I made a bit of an accident when I was starting to watch these. I pre-downloaded what I thought was the keynote, and I was in a hurry, so I didn't realize I was downloading the developer keynote. So I watched through the entirety of that, and then I circled back last night and watched about half of the main keynote, and then I watched most of the rest of it today. I am 12 minutes short of actually finishing the keynote. So I've seen most of what their keynotes contained. Wow, suddenly the throat needs clearing. I'll have more to say on it when we get to that, but I'm not gonna lie, there were parts, especially during the developer keynote, where I started just zoning out. It was not it wasn't the best watch. Definitely not the best watch. The main keynote, it's better. It's odd. It's hard to really wrap the head around so many product names and buzzwords, and everything is getting branded. Even things that are, as far as I can tell, literally identical, I think have different branding. Like individual things have multiple brandings on them, just depending on like which specific way that you use it or interact with it, or even down to maybe just, is it doing this thing or is it doing that thing? Depending on your prompt, you might technically have to call it different things if you want to call it by the correct names. Like, yeah, lots of stuff was sort of hard to follow in specificity. So there's going to be a whole lot of, I think we're going to make a lot of mistakes as we talk about this today. But it is what it is. Let's see. Carson said he watched The Verge's 35-minute recap at 2x speed. That sounds about right. Because holy crap, there was a lot of fluff in this.
Google should get AI to summarize it. I think that's what we need.
It's funny because I remember certain IOs where, like, they hit the stage and it was like, "Hi, I'm here to tell you about," and then they like rapid fire 3 announcements in like a minute and a half. And then that person leaves and another person walks out. "Hi, I'm going to tell you about blah, blah, blah." And again, like another instant. Here's so many things that we're going to talk about, but we're not actually going to talk about them. We're just telling you this is a thing, this is a thing, this is a thing. And like each of those things would be, back in the AP days, each of those things would be an article. And so we'd be scrambling to cover anything and everything. And it would be an all-day process getting caught up. Whereas this event, I feel like they kind of came out on stage and told you a lot about one thing. And it's like, okay, great. That's stuff. What is it? What does any of it mean? Like how? And I don't mean like confusion. It's just like, all right, you said that this is good, but what is it? Like what's it actually gonna do, or where's this going, or what is this supposed to actually be as a product? So yeah, it definitely was easier to cut down Google I/O into smaller parts today, or this year.
I need to refresh really quick. I think Edge is panicking.
Corbin edging. Let's see. I missed Dimas. Which is that? What the part? Was that like the very end? Let's see. Austin, you think it's time for Google to release a product guide to follow along? Yeah. Yeah, 1000%. Because honestly, I genuinely do not know what some of the branding is supposed to mean or be or look like.
Especially with the all the agent stuff being called Spark. There's a million other things called that, so it's really fun. Um, but I guess before we get into the specifics about Google I/O stuff, we have one non-Google topic.
Yeah, we're escaping the inevitable pain of Google I/O with one thing.
Yeah, with another type of pain.
Yeah.
Uh, Plex announced new pricing for the lifetime Plex Pass. So, if a quick roundup, Plex is the server software that you can install and host your own media library for you to stream or share your library with other people. If you don't have a server, it's still or whether or not you have a server, there's also like a bunch of like free ad supported stuff in there. It can do like movies and TV shows and music on like music library, which I might set up again soon. Um, and Plex Pass is the thing that you generally want if you are setting up a Plex server. If you're not, if you're just like mooching off your friends, it doesn't really matter. Uh, Plex Pass enables things like hardware encoding on the server, um, and like live TV guides, and you don't have to pay any kind of one like unlocking fee to watch on individual devices. You can just watch on whatever you want. Now there's a streaming pass that enables that for like I think it's $2 or $3 a month or something. So that part is not like necessary, really. But Plex Pass has always been available as either a subscription or a lifetime cost. Um, and the lifetime it seemed like it's kind of been on its way out. It hasn't gone on sale the last few times when it would normally go on sale. Like it used to be a discount for like every Black Friday. That hasn't happened recently. And so now Plex has announced that they are raising the price from $250 to $750. And they say we've considered eliminating the lifetime Plex Pass in the past, given that recurring subscriptions help us sustain long term development. But we know it's still a valuable option for many in our community. So instead of retiring it, we're keeping it available at a price that reflects the real ongoing value of the software we're committed to building and maintaining for years to come. And obviously, if you already have Plex Pass lifetime, nothing changes for you. If you're on the Plex Pass subscription, nothing is changing. Maybe that'll get bumped up a little bit later on, but nothing's happening for now. And if you don't have Plex Pass, and that seems like something you might use in the near future, you have until July 1st to buy the lifetime pass at the current price. So, uh, pretty decent amount of warning there. So, yeah.
I would note, pay
And
specific attention to the.
Alyssa said, been buying 4K Blu rays and ripping them, so considering making a Plex server. 4K Blu rays, that's quite a lot of storage to keep around.
Yeah. I would recommend paying specific attention to the time.
Did
Be,
my audio break or did your audio break? I can't hear you.
um, I'm
Um,
talking and I see.
the music on my computer is working,
I
which
see.
is not meat. What's this doing?
Okay, so Corbin can't hear me saying any of this, but I do see my audio levels, so I know
Asking
I'm there.
Gemini how to fix my audio.
Yeah,
Austin can hear me. Okay, so
yeah.
it's my fault. Okay, I guess I'll refresh again.
Oh boy, we're off to a real good day here. Do you hear me?
I
That's
still cannot hear you.
okay.
What
So,
the hell is happening?
um, let's
My
see.
output is Bluetooth headphones. The
Am
music is
I?
working. Do I need to reopen?
Uh, okay. I know he can't hear me saying this, but it looks like he's not hearing, or it looks like my audio isn't going over. Okay, let me. tell him that in Discord as soon as he comes back.
Hello.
You don't hear me, I
I
know.
still cannot hear you. What happened? Corbin ran out of tokens. Damn.
Okay, do you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, so I think it was, I don't know what it would have been, but something on my side with Meat obviously broke.
That's I love this software.
Hey, you're the one who said you wouldn't do this anymore if we had to keep using Jitsi, so we could always go back to Jitsi.
I don't remember saying that, but
Oh, yeah, you
uh
definitely did.
okay. That's possible. Um
Okay, so what I was saying before Meat decided to unceremoniously mute me to you is that, oops, um, pay very close attention to the time if you are thinking about waiting to the last minute to buy Plex Pass at the current price, because it's in UTC, and it is something that would happen basically at midnight at the start of July 1st. So effectively, uh, don't even don't even wait until June 30th. You should get it on June 29th, cuz at some point during June 30th, that is when this actually flips to the $750 price. Um that is, of course, if you're the kind of person who waits until the last minute to do this stuff. Uh Otherwise, go forth and buy. However, well, before we get to the however, Corbin, is there anything else that you wanted to summarize or describe about this?
I have my take, but you can do your take first.
Uh, yeah. So as I said in Discord, um, I'm getting big red flags off of this. I feel like this is one of those situations where they're trying to get, and look, this is a business. I'm not disputing that. I'm not saying that they shouldn't be trying to make money. That's all well and good. But this is a business where they really want a lot of people to be using their software, and of course to be paying for it. If so, man, this probably turns into too big of a discussion, but developers for several years have been saying, and I agree, lifetime licenses are pretty much the devil. Um, they sound nice. They're a good idea if the price is astronomically higher than what the software should actually cost, and that all makes sense. Like, it
Or
really
if you
does.
keep releasing new versions and there's a
Yeah,
way to like push most people to upgrade each time. If you're Adobe in like 2005, like that kind of model, that's not what Plex
yeah,
was doing. Like everyone who bought a lifetime pass for $80, 10 years ago or whoever is still consuming resources from the company, but you know,
yeah. And that's the thing. Like, I fully agree with that as an argument. It is entirely valid. Um, because the fact of the matter is, uh, Plex, while even objectively, if there weren't going to be any new features, if there wasn't going to be any other changes, if the software could be released and basically stand still the same way video games usually are, yes, I know video games typically do get a few patches, but let's be honest, most video games come out, and unless it's a live service game, there's going to be like 3 or 4 patches over the next year, and then they're basically going to shelf it and never touch it again until they do a remaster that they will charge the same amount of money for. Um, so in the case of Plex, you've got to keep updating it to cover uh, new codecs, new formats, changes to operating systems, new platforms. Obviously, like, they have Plex clients for every major game console, every major operating system, uh, and a few things that I think we can even call not that major. They do a lot of stuff. I'm not challenging that at all. And to pay for lifetime, or to get that stuff with basically a lifetime license, yeah, that's pretty huge. That's asking a lot. Here's the thing I get when I see this though. Plex is not a single income stream company anymore. They if you've been using Plex, you're very aware that they have been pushing more and more into uh, ad supported freemium channels. They've pushed more and more into, hey, you can rent stuff on these other services through us, and we'll take a cut of that. And they've come up with various other ways to make money. And again, that's fine. Not complaining about that at all. Um, where I get worried is once they get people to purchase, because right now they just created a do it now or lose the chance forever situation. And they did that not too long ago when they raised the price to 250. I don't remember when that was, but that was what, like a I want to say it felt recent-ish, like a year and a half ago or something. Maybe it was longer. I know
I
we
don't
talked about it on
remember
here,
exactly.
so
I mean, they've slowly raised the prices through the years, so
yeah,
like everything else.
yeah. Slowly might not be quite the term I'd go with, but yeah. Um, so yeah, the but point is the price goes up, and every single time they announce it, they get a flood of new people buying the lifetime because of course they do, and it creates the question of, well, do you give up your chance to get it at a price that maybe you can afford today versus a price you definitely can't afford tomorrow? Um, so I think what they're doing right here is a let's call it a tactical push to get as many people onto Lifetime as they possibly can, and then I see them basically shifting even further and harder into the how can we make more money off the people that we already have. And the reason why this is a strategy is basically it's the sunk cost fallacy, or you can call it the investment lock in. You can call it a number of different things. There are various terms for this, but basically, ask yourself, if I just spent $250 on something, how willing am I to then flush it down the toilet just because it changed in little ways that I don't like? I mean, that is what Lifetime also does. It locks the developer
Well,
into
if
it.
you listen to the people on the Plex Reddit, apparently, really anything.
Yeah.
They're ready to drop this for Jellyfin at the drop of a hat. Um, but you can keep going.
Uh oh, I sorry, I was just trying to read what was also being said in chat. Um let's see. So, but yeah, this is the problem I'm seeing is I think the vast majority of people who bought lifetime licenses or will buy lifetime licenses are going to now be in a position of saying, like, let's say a year down the line, they're going to go, man, I don't like such and such thing Plex just did, but I spent $250 for it. And like now you're now in. Like you got both feet in the water for this. That's a lot of money to pay for this. If it was $80, I think more people would be inclined to like just shrug and walk away. Especially if it was $80 several years ago. Whereas now it's going to be $250 and could happen in as little as a few months. Probably not a few months. It's probably going to take longer, but you never know. And again, this is one of those situations where you kind of have lock-in that exists because you've now invested in it. You've now decided, if you pay for this, I'm really not going anywhere. You're not going to switch to Jellyfin. You're not going to try other things. Not once you've funneled $250 into this until you at least feel like you've gotten your 250 out of it, or the experience gets so bad that it's unusable. That's where I worry about this, because man, that is a lot to throw at something that has so feature set, and may or may not change its business model in a little while. Like that's what worries me. And that's why I get red flags off of this, because this feels like an intentional let's get people really locked in. If it weren't for that, I mean, let's be honest, how many it, they could just get rid of lifetime entirely. Like obviously you could keep honoring it for the people that already paid for it, but they can get rid of it. They don't have
Well,
to
that's
offer this.
right. That's what they said in the post. Like, we thought about doing that, and this is the alternative. Is Yeah, maybe it's unattainable now, but like it is technically there if you want it.
Um yeah. And Alyssa's saying they're pushing you to a monthly subscription. I think it's the exact opposite. I think they're really trying to get as many people to jump on the lifetime as they possibly can get. I mean, part of that is that's it. Like if this were really such a big deal, why are they giving um over a month for people to decide or to think about this or to talk themselves into it? Um, I mean, really, they could just as easily say, look, we realize that lifetime is going to cost us too much, especially with everything going on. So as of today, the price is now 750. Like they could just as easily do that, and a lot of people would be mad at him, obviously. But if if 250 wasn't enough and 750 is, then the thing you logically would do is say, you know what, we can't take 250 anymore. We have to go to 750. Here it is today. Um, yeah, they're not doing that. They really I read this as they really want everyone to move to lifetime so that those features can not completely stop happening, but so they can get people on board and then start pushing more into their freemium services and the various access to other other income streams.
Um,
And it is a
I,
business. I mean, again, like I will fully acknowledge it's a business, and I'm not trying to make this sound conspiratorial, like a bait and switch, but also I it's one of those things where I feel like in a few years, like maybe not even that many, we're going to look back on this and go, yeah, maybe they didn't treat this as honestly as they could have, or at least they really want people um, for something. Oh, and David, that is actually an interesting and good point. Yeah, imagine buying into this and then in like a year, all of a sudden they do the oh, by the way, we're selling Plex to Blackstone or something. I don't know.
um, yeah, I don't know if I sense a plot to move as many people to lifetime as possible. I think that's just they're trying to dampen the bad press from this with a hey, we're giving you a month heads up.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if like I don't know if they're gonna email everyone who has a Plex account and tell like I don't know how much they're like willing to share that fact with their existing users. I know that's been an issue in the past where like there's been like a price change and they have not communicated that well. So I don't know. I think that's I I'm not reading too much into that one specifically. Um, I will say with all of these announcements, and this is not a response to anything you said, just what everyone else says when I see these. Plex is in. I can't think of many other companies in the same position as Plex where its original purpose and the reason why a lot of people use it is completely different than how they market themselves. If you go to Plex, they market themselves as a media hub. Like, here's the app you get. It has a bunch of ad supported movies and TV shows in it, and we'll show you where other ones are. And you can even like buy movies through us if you want. And you can like rate things. And, where it's like this place you go for all your movies. And then, like, if you want to have a server where you host your own media and maybe share that with friends, you can do that. But that is like pretty far below how they describe themselves at this point.
Okay, I actually, sorry to interrupt this, but I can actually think of two industries that definitely do market themselves differently than the way their products are used. The first one is so-called personal massagers,
Right. Yeah.
and the second one is bath salts.
That's
Which,
true.
okay, there are legitimate bath salts, and then there's the ones people were using to get high. So yeah, technically there are two
Yeah.
two products,
Or
but
I don't know if like a lot of I guess the anyway, okay, so I'm not gonna go down that road. But anyway,
VPNs.
so
Actually, VPNs. That's a good
uh
one. Okay, let's be honest. Very few
uh
people actually use VPNs the way that the VPN companies market that they're
I don't
used.
know. Well, I think the VPN companies are good at coming up with pretend reasons to use them. Like you're gonna get hacked on public Wi-Fi or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like so Plex is in this very unenviable position where almost everything they do makes those core users of people hosting and sharing their content angry. Like almost everything they do, everything they announce, every new feature they roll out, every time they like change how the app looks a little bit. And every single time I see like just the like a lot of people very ignorant of how software works. like
Yeah.
like just number one, it's always the people who are like, wow, this sucks. I'm glad I paid, my $80 for my Plex Pass 10 years ago. It's like, well, that's why they have to do that because you did that. And like I actually saw a thread. I'm not exaggerating. On like the one of the big Reddit threads for this, where someone was like, "It's my files on my server. What am I paying Plex for?" It's like, oh, well then don't use Plex. If you want your movies and your TV shows to be a network file share folder with no server files on top, you can do that. You can still do that. I do that sometimes. I don't move like all my files to the Plex folder. Sometimes I just leave them where they are, and I open them from VLC, and it's fine. But like there's just I think a lot of people tend to forget that, like, again, if you go to Plex's website, they have apps on like 2 dozen platforms. They're testing and maintaining the server stuff. They've got Plex amp. Like there's a lot of development there and a lot of developers that have to be paid so they can eat. um and I don't think your criticism was like that, but I saw a lot that was, and it really annoys me every time.
Yeah,
um
believe me, I'm very very in favor of companies actually being able to make money. I
right.
I don't see anything wrong with that because otherwise Plex if Plex isn't making any money, then yeah, the company's going to be shutting down in, a couple of
Yeah,
years.
and that's how I read the push into like the ad supported media and the like becoming a weird like IMDb reviews type hub and these other things of like, okay, yeah, like those are like potentially other income streams that you can use to keep the stuff I care about working. That seems like a good deal. Like I turn off, right. It's like everything you have to turn off in Firefox or Vivaldi now,
Yeah.
out of the box. Is like, okay, you get to continue existing, and I just have to turn off these couple checkboxes. Sure, that's an okay deal for me. Um, and that's not to say that like Plex hasn't occasionally messed up big time. I still think the rollout of their apps was really bad. That was a really bad, tremendous mistake.
Yeah. It,
Like that, those apps very clearly needed another like 6 to 8 months in the oven before they rolled them out. I don't know why they thought that was okay.
I and here's the thing. I'm actually going to I'm not going to defend them, but I am going to say something that's sort of a defense in a very tangential way. I will acknowledge I I think that these are unrelated things. Uh, I think that that was a case of uh, product managers either being in too much of a rush or developers being just bad developers. And I'm not saying bad at development. I'm saying that they may not have been taking uh they may not have cared about making the product as complete and as good as they should have, and they were just willing to push something that wasn't as good. Um
Yeah, it's
which
just a
isn't
rush though.
which isn't the
Like,
same as saying, "Oh, you don't know how to write arrays correctly or whatever."
right.
Um
Yeah, it's the classic thing that like every tech company does where they need to rewrite or redesign something and they get to about like 70 or 80% done with feature parity with whatever exists currently and they're like, "Okay, we're done." And then we'll just fix, what needs to be fixed afterwards. And it never goes well. And it always makes people really upset. But it keeps happening.
um yeah, so uh um yeah. I but that being said, so they screwed up there, and that's something that that's something people should be criticizing separately. Whereas the price increase and and what I truly suspect is a very soon to happen uh shift. Maybe it won't be that soon. Maybe it'll take a year or so, but I I have this funny feeling that they're going to start shifting really hard into pushing uh those freemium ad supported things, and once they start doing that, like, obviously there are ways that they can do that that are going to be fine, just like they are mostly doing now, where you can still limit the exposure to that stuff if you want. You can turn pretty much all of that off so you just don't see it, and then every 6 months to a year or so they kind of create some new thing and you just have to turn that one off too. um and that's fine. I'm not really objecting to that. But what I worry about with something like this is that they're going to turn into, for lack of a better example, I'm going to say Microsoft, where the day comes along where you're like, "Oh, I'm going to sit down and watch you know, let's just say this honestly. Let's just talk about your typical pirater. Um I'm gonna sit down and watch my pirated copy of or pirated episodes of Westworld or Game of Thrones. I haven't watched those in a while. I just feel like watching them. And you pull it up, you open Plex, and right at the top of the screen, hey, why don't you watch these 15 Hallmark movies? No, don't want to do that. Arrow down a couple times to get past the junk, and then you open or like browse until you find Westworld, and then they're like, "Oh, you can watch it here, or here are 3 different services that are also streaming Westworld," and you have to arrow past those just to get to your copies. And then when you start it, it's like, "Oh, by the way, we've got pre-roll ads." Maybe they won't do that. That might be the step too far even for them. But that's the sort of thing that I worry about, because I mean, literally that's basically what they did with the Xbox interface at one point. And someone tried to argue with me that Windows has not become basically just ad central, with Microsoft's own services being the things getting advertised most of the time, until they also shove sponsored spots into the start menu. Anyone remember when they did that? I don't use Windows actively, so I don't actually know when it last happened, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's happening today. So yeah, that's my that's where I could see the company going. I'm not accusing them of going there. I'm just accusing them of setting it up so that a that is a thing that they can do down the road. And even if they don't intend that today, David honestly nailed it perfectly. It's only a matter of time before they could pop up and just be like, "Oh, by the way, we're being bought by such and such company," and then you end up with a situation like Nova Launcher, where um, Kevin, I can't think of his last name now, but yeah, Kevin built a fantastic launcher. Everyone loved it. I think it was Kevin, right? Now I hope I'm not getting the name wrong. But he built a fantastic launcher, and then the day finally came that it got sold. And when it did, uh, yeah, the company that bought it just ruined it, absolutely ruined it. Or I mean, I have much less affinity for uh, oh, Chris. Why am I forgetting everyone's last names? Um, but the guy who made the floating browser uh, app. Anyway, he ended up selling that, and it was eventually turned into Brave Browser. Kind of turned into Brave Browser.
Right, the Android version of Brave.
Yeah, the Android version. Um,
Similar thing as one of the mobile apps for Microsoft Outlook was originally something else. I think it was either the Android or the iOS apps. They were like repurposed into Outlook.
mm-hmm. um, let's see. So Carson earlier said Plex has a tough user base to deal with because it's a relatively niche group. It is, but I'm not sure that. I mean, it is a niche, but I think it's a very large niche. Um,
It's really more just entitled. Like I hate
well,
to,
the lifetime Flex Pass, yes,
I
absolutely,
hate
they're
to
entitled.
draw with a broad brush, but like so many of those comments are insufferable. It's just like, wow. Again, just fundamentally, the everyone getting angry about the price for Plex Pass Lifetime going up, mostly from people who already have it. Like you already
Yeah,
bought it. I understand there's a little bit of an argument of like, oh, it's making it difficult for new people to get into this and like use it, and that's valid. But a lot of this is people being like, wow, the thing I paid for 8 years ago sucks. I'm gonna go use Jellyfin. It's like, okay, you
yeah,
already bought it. You currently own it. You can try it. You can switch if you want. It's just really weird.
yeah. The people who paid $80 many years ago, yeah, they've effectively used their payment to whittle that down to basically $10 a year or so.
Right. And it's a different conversation from like, oh, the phone I bought 5 years ago is turning into a slow piece of crap.
Yeah,
It's like, well, it's like a lifetime pass for a service. Like this is a service that's running and potentially routing a lot of your traffic through Plex's servers and other things. So it's a little bit of a different argument than like the electronic I bought a few years ago. Again, I know there's like blurry lines, but I just get really annoyed at most of the comments I see about this.
yeah.
'Cause there's
Well,
just a lot of people who are again, I wish I could pay $80 for an app and it just works forever. I wish I lived in that world, but devs have to eat and servers are expensive. I don't know what to tell you.
okay. So this does bring up what I consider to be kind of an interesting spot here, um, which is there comes a point where when I look at it, now how do I frame this? Okay. So this is a little bit like the classic cable TV or cable subscription argument, where people say, "Look, I just want to pay for the two channels I watch. I don't want to pay for all these others." When I look at Plex, I'll tell you right now, honestly, if I I don't want the software to quote unquote stand still. I want, frankly, I kind of wish we could backtrack about 2 years in the software's life where it was a bit less buggy and behaved better. But I just basically want it to stay at that perfect state and then just get the necessary updates to keep it running well on each platform. Frankly, I'd be perfectly happy paying, I don't know, let's say $10 a year for that level of maintenance. And that does not take a lot of developers to do. They do not need a large company. Honestly, that's something that, you know, 4 or 5 people could sit down and just keep in a good maintained state. Um, if it even took that many. Obviously, they aren't going to do that. They're at this point, the development team that's there, they don't have to do a lot to maintain the state of the product for people who are the pirates. Um, Carson, yeah, basically just bug fixes and security improvements. The same dumb update line that every update to the App Store always gets. Um, I so yeah, they mostly are done with the product in terms of the people who are pirating. So they have didn't somebody somewhere said that the company has like 100 employees. I don't know if that's correct. It may be way off, but who knows? Let's just say hypothetically they do have 100 employees, and setting aside that a few of those people are there for marketing and HR and whatever else, but presumably, I guess roughly half of their employees have to be developers. I would assume, right? That sounds like a fair assessment. Uh, Most of those people are probably working on new income streams, and it has been a very long time since I've seen Plex announce a feature that I thought, oh, I'm really happy to see them add that. If And that's kind of the problem, and that gets back to the point. Like, I can see how if their concern is they want to add new income streams and pay developers and they want to keep feeding their developers, yeah, absolutely. I can see why 100 people is it's going to cost a lot of money to do that. But they're mostly doing things I'm not interested in. And look, that's not saying that as an entitlement thing. That's saying that as, well, right now your business proposal doesn't serve what I'm looking for, so logically I should just be looking somewhere else. And yeah, that's not entitlement, that's just objective observation. Yeah, I know we definitely haven't touched IO stuff, so yeah, I think we're nearing the end of what we can say about Plex anyway. But
Well, I have, yeah, I mean, I had more to say about this than most AI things. So,
yeah, exactly, that's the other thing, is we are actually going to blow through a lot of the Google IO stuff. um
yeah. And I wanted to say my piece about people being annoying.
which, by the way, I let me add, because I completely agree with you on that. I think it's a separate issue. Like, the people are not the same as the company, which is very obvious because the people are mad at the company. But yeah, I think the people being mad at the company is a weird, messy, like, internetism that signifies or signals how bad internet culture can be, because people are taking the wrong things away from this. I don't think anyone should be mad that the company needs to raise prices, because it is what it is. But I think people should be mad about the right things. And frankly, I think a lot of them are missing the point. So yeah, that. But yeah, we're in agreement on that. The commenters are idiots, mostly.
We're in agreement that people need to chill out.
That people should go find some grass, touch it, and enjoy it while it lasts, because it probably won't be here in 10 years.
Chill out and use Jellyfin if you want. I'm sure Jellyfin is okay. You can. This is not an airport. You do not have to announce your departure.
Um,
Lexus Moya, shut up. They're gonna do that. Don't say that too loudly.
yeah, that's definitely going to happen anyway. Um, I will throw in kind of that one sort of long term scenario where a lot of the people could be mad about this more justifiably, because as they see it, man, now this is about to sound like the really entitled argument, so bear with. I'm not saying I agree with it, I'm just playing devil's advocate here. uh People who paid $80 for their lifetime Plex Pass 10 years ago or whatever could be looking at this and going, oh man, this sucks for me, because if there aren't new people getting on board with Plex, or especially Plex Lifetime or whatever, if Plex drives too many people away to Jellyfin, then it means that they're going to have less audience that is that Plex will be building for, which will, one, lead to the demise of the company sooner, and two, it will mean that they're going to focus even harder on the subscription features and certain other things that probably don't benefit the lifetime people. So I can see where they technically could have that, where they wouldn't be happy about this, even if they've already bought themselves through. Um, yeah, I don't know how to finish that point, but there is at least a way to see where they might not be happy. Though I'm pretty sure they're just unhappy because they're unhappy people.
Austin said they'll just pivot to selling shoes. Um, no, they'll pivot to, well, the current thing is for all the companies that were like trying to ride the AI and NFT craze. Some of them are going to GLP-1s, so maybe Plex will do that. It would be really funny if they tried turning media servers into AI farm.
It,
We're
that's
doing
just
SETI
Bitcoin
at
mining
home.
2.0.
Yeah, we're doing SETI at home, but it's large language models. Okay. All right.
Oh
So
man.
on to IO. So the I guess the first one is all the Google search stuff. So this has been the trend for the last 2 years, is slowly prioritizing the AI chatbot and responses in Google search over the traditional, you put in a search query, you get a bunch of results, sometimes with the little, cards filled in from websites. And at IO, they mentioned that the search is now using their updated model that's supposed to be less dumb. And I think the main thing I noticed is, because again, they keep saying like we're adding AI to search. It's like, but you did that. So what are
Yeah.
you actually doing this time that I need to be concerned about? And the main thing I believe is that when you type into something in Google, and I can do this now, is there's now a bigger AI mode button when you type in. And if you type like a longer thing, I think it'll just default to that.
Yeah, it does.
Um,
Well, if you type
so
in a longer thing, or if you type it, if you type in even a relatively short thing, but it's in the form of a like sentence question.
right, instead of a search query.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much at that point almost always defaults to the AI mode.
Yeah. So the point is that it's driving more searches to the AI mode, where of course then you get a more chatbot like interface where you get the main message that, let's be honest, most people are not going beyond that. But below that is links to like sources and like embedded stuff. So basically, just continuing the trend of driving traffic away from all the websites that Google scraped to make those answers, which are then not compensated in any way. and also they will sell ads in between, their answer. So, they can still profit from their scraped together answers. Um, so it just sucks. Like, I hate every time they talk about this. It's gross. I think um if I was a tech journalist sitting in that audience for the live event and I was watching a Google executive talk proudly about their thing that was killing my industry, I think I would be pretty upset and maybe say or do things I would regret. Um, it sucks. It just really sucks. It sucks that they're continuing to do this, and then it leads to all the discussions about how, like, if most publishers now are planning for some sort of scenario where they just get zero traffic from Google, but there's a lot of companies that are not planning for that well. I worked at one of them, and it is a just impossible situation for like a bunch of smaller sites that that are just built around, like, how do you get discovered if the places people are going for information just won't show you, right? How do you
Yeah.
get started and grow in this? You don't have an option except like hoping lightning strikes 500 times in a row through social media and word of mouth. That's really hard. So just the way people find information and how we compensate the people who did the research and the work to create those answers is still being actively upended, and I don't know what the end result is, but it has not been looking good so far. And it's really frustrating that Google's answers thus far have just been, well, we're showing the source links. It's like no one's clicking that.
No.
And there's the bigger problem of, I'm not going to be able to find it again, but I was reading a I think it was a blog post someone wrote, or a Blue Sky thread or something, where they were explaining that like most people's initial run-ins with like media literacy and like testing this is going through Google search results and being like, what's legit here, right? Like, which of these websites looks real, which ones aren't. I click this link, it seems kind of fishy, I've never seen this domain before. And when you use these chatbot interfaces, all of that's just paved over and you don't ever see that. So it's making the situation of not enough people having very basic media literacy much worse, because Google doing this on this scale does impact billions of people. At least in the places where they roll this out. I think this is still in like maybe half the world, I'm not sure. But like it makes a lot of things really bad. Like, a lot of things are getting worse because Google's continuing to push on this, and they're continuing to push it because they're freaked out by ChatGPT doing this. And it's really frustrating and depressing, and I wish they would stop instead of bragging about it each year. And it just sucks again. And if they did like literally anything to offset the damage of this kind of thing, right? If they figured something out, and I know there's been like Cloudflare has talked about this a little bit, of like trying to create systems where the original source of something is still compensated in some way for its data being used in an AI answer, or being scraped or something like that. But like, I haven't seen Google do any of that. They're still just doing the occasional they're doing what OpenAI does, like just they're announcing the partnerships with like the really big publishers, like your Associated Press, your CNN, your whatever. And those companies get some kind of like recurring payout for being scraped for AI models, but the vast majority of websites and publishers and people making things don't get that opportunity. So it's just a really depressing situation that keeps getting worse.
I'm going to take that actually a step further because there are a couple of angles that I think a lot of people don't consider. First, right now, yes, Google and OpenAI and whoever else, they are doing some licensing agreements with big publishers. Um, I think it's worth noting that big publishers, and actually, I really want to credit. Uh, I really am having trouble with last names today. Last week tonight with John
Oliver.
Oliver. Thank you. I kept wanting to say Hodgman, which, I mean, yeah. Anyway, John Oliver used to make a very adamant point of saying, hey, we cover a lot of stuff on here, and we wouldn't be able to do it if it weren't for the work of small local news outlets, local stations, local newspapers. They do the real work, and we're finding it, and we're talking about it. And that's how we do our research and so on and so forth. Like, he made a point of crediting them a lot. The fact of the matter is, New York Times, and you know what, I shouldn't have even said one name. All of them, they do a lot of that. They do, what is effectively kind of content theft almost. They do a lot of research looking at small sites that cover things. They see it and go, okay, let's do a story on that. And sometimes they cite those smaller sites. Honestly, a lot of times they don't. They're actually some of the worst offenders for not doing that. And it's, among the, like when I was working at AP, other sites at the same level, we kind of would try to hold each other to account to basically cite each other if someone else was the one to break the story. Now, certain sites were notoriously bad at this. Others were better. And we also could see it very plain as day when sites that were even one step larger would just conveniently neglect to cite anybody. Cough, cough, Verge, cough, cough. Verge was far from the worst, though. CNET was way worse. Anyway, the fact of the matter is, if those small sites start dying, the value of what larger sites like New York Times will be able to put out is going to diminish massively. They're not going to have those sources to lean on, and that is going to really weaken their value as far as Google and OpenAI and anyone else is concerned. And at some point, if they're no longer providing that value, those deals are going to dry up. Second, they're going to dry up anyway because, let's be honest, when you've got a system as elaborate and convoluted as AI, or the AI models that they're building here, that are constantly reintegrating new information, it's only a matter of time before Google, OpenAI, and whoever else, especially Facebook, I guarantee Facebook will be the worst offender here if they ever get an AI off the ground. All they have to do is say, "Oh, well, it's true. You did cover such and such information, but we're actually not sourcing from you at all. We're sourcing from these other 87 places that all covered the same sort of thing. So we really don't feel like we owe you anything for that." It's only a matter of time before that becomes a thing that also weakens their negotiating position, because Google has the capacity to do that. New York Times doesn't have the capacity to argue about it. So, yeah, I'm sorry, but I don't want to say that the big news outlets are selling out, but the practical reality is, they're going to suffer the results of what is effectively selling out. Because it's only a matter of time before the small guys disappear, and once the small guys are gone, the big guys aren't going to be far behind. And effectively, we're approaching we're approaching what is kind of going to be that inflection point where what was called new media is going to join old media in a slow trek to death.
Yeah, it's not fun. Um, I don't think I have anything else to say. There's like other like
It could be such a
coding,
much longer
coding,
conversation, but
coding stuff, and well, I mean, I was back to the blog post. There's like coding stuff in here that I don't care about, and I'd like to get out of here before 10 o'clock because I haven't technically had dinner. I just had a really late lunch, so we should keep on trucking, I guess.
okay. So what? Skip the whole rest of this post.
I think so, unless you
Okay.
had something really insightful.
Well, I think we'll be coming back to the agentic coding stuff or some of it later. So, wait, are we?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. There's
yeah,
the
we
other
do.
side.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So next thing here is uh, Gemini Spark, I guess, or just general updates to the Gemini
Hmm.
interface and app. Um, Basically, Google's kind of doing the thing of like the concept of AI agents, like these little guys that can run around and do things for you. Um, it's mostly been an enterprise offering, and then most recently, OpenClaw as like a personal version of this that has famously gone haywire many times. And now Google's like, that sounds great. What if everyone could have those? So that's what they're doing. So there is now let me scroll down to actually the right section. They say we're introducing Gemini Spark, a 24/7 personal AI agent that helps you navigate your digital life. It's deeply integrated with the workspace tools you use daily, like Gmail, Docs, and Slides. And it transforms Gemini from an assistant that can answer your questions into an active partner that does real work on your behalf and under your instructions. So basically, it's like it's doing a lot of things that Gemini is. My impression is that it's doing a lot of the things that Gemini is supposed to be able to do instantly or like near instantly, but like in case it takes a really long time for some reason, it just becomes like a background task and you get notified when it's done. Um, and there is some other functionality in here that they're bundling under Spark, but it's just like things that I don't really potentially don't have anything to do with generative AI or anything. Like they mentioned, you can set recurring tasks or triggers, like automatically parsing monthly credit card statements to flag new or hidden subscription fees. So that's something that like I don't know. Is it an agent if it's just like a uh what's the scheduling a cron job? Is it just it's just a cron job really?
So it's
It's
funny
I had an if this then that applet that did something like this about 10 years ago.
they actually did specifically refer to it during the announcement, during the keynote. They specifically referred to it as setting up cron jobs.
Okay.
They even use the term cron, which
In
when I heard that, it's
fairness,
like, wait, that's nerdy for this. Like, you guys are supposed to be afraid of letting the Linux show through. What's this? Um, but uh,
yeah.
in a little bit of their defense on this, they some of the examples they showed it, like the description in this blog post kind of underplays it a little bit. Um, so like setting up recurring tasks, yeah, okay, fine, that's a relatively simple thing. But they had like an example where it basically was going to watch your email for whenever somebody confirmed that they were going to show up to a thing or asked a question about a thing or whatever. Like it could build a sheets page for you that kept track of invited attendees or new attendees. They could add notes for them, do and basically like keep track of a lot of this stuff in more useful ways. So
Which I thought Gemini and Gmail was supposed to be doing already.
not really. Like current, the prior to this, from at least from what I understood, Gemini was able to look at your emails and, like you could make a request and it could answer based on the email you have today. It couldn't be set up to watch every new incoming message and be like, oh, hey, here's a message from somebody that'll do this thing or that thing, and then be able to take actions on newly incoming mail. So strictly speaking, this isn't like a model upgrade so much as it is upgrading Gmail and Gemini to be able to react to newly incoming messages. Basically, like the same way a human assistant presumably would be able to. The scary thing is how many trees are we going to burn doing what a human could have done for minimum wage?
Yeah,
But
and again, with all these features, you better hope it works 100% of the time. Because if you're planning your, your get together with a automation that an AI agent made based on input, you hope it's reading correctly from your emails. There's a lot of places there that could go wrong that a human probably wouldn't mess up on. So say all the same issues apply with all these things. Like, you better hope it's working correctly, or
okay,
else it would have just been better to do it yourself.
okay, 2 points. One more for comedy than anything, but never underestimate the capacity for humans to fuck up really basic things.
Sure.
Because man, I have heard some stories. I've seen people somehow misunderstand. Well, let's be honest. There's a reason why people had to come up with the phrase "no means no," um, because let's be honest, a lot of people don't understand even basic phrasing sometimes. So there is that. The second, I will sort of acknowledge that, yeah, this stuff's probably not going to be perfect today, and no one expects it to be. Well, actually, I take that back.
Well,
Obviously, plenty of people expect it
I
to be,
I
but
think
because they're dumb.
I think Google expects it to be, and they get mad at you if you think otherwise.
Well, I think Google is telling you it's going to be perfect because they have to. Like, that's just marketing. Um, and it's more that I think there are people out there who are going to definitely be spending the $100 or $200. We'll get to that shortly. And expecting perfect when in reality they should know that this isn't going to be perfect. This is going to break all the time. There's going to be lots of errors, and they're just going to always wave it off and say, "Oh no, it's all perfect." Just because it glitched once doesn't mean it'll ever happen again. And fast forward to the next week, and hey, look, it happened again. So yeah, people are gonna be people. They're gonna be stupid about it, but it's okay. Um, all that being said, look, I do think that this stuff it's gonna happen one way or the other, and it needs to be developed. It needs, if it's ever gonna be good, they need to put it out in the world and try to make it work. I I don't dispute that or question it at all. Um, this is just more along the lines of you gotta really want to be the beta tester to be using this today.
Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way about these sort of assistants as a lot of like AI code assistant stuff, which is just like you still gotta use your brain sometimes. Like you gotta do things yourself, or your brain will atrophy into a mush. And like I don't have like I don't think that issue exists with like some of like recurrent automation stuff. Like, again, this is just a slightly different way of using what I've used if this and that for years, or like again cron jobs or something else. But there's the recurring theme of, wouldn't it be great if like we just automated everything in your life and you did nothing except work. um and that's, again, goes back to the Google search thing of like just things that don't make me feel good. And we haven't even got to the creepy video generation yet.
Yeah. Well, okay, so it's weird because I think you and I have now officially switched places. I'm the one who's looking at a lot of the AI stuff and thinking, okay, I, you know, I'm not necessarily going to rush into it. I'm not jumping on it, but I'll treat it with some degree of um, like this is here and it'll probably be good sometimes, but use it sparingly. And you, I think, have fully turned into the okay. The world is dead. Let's just sink with
I
the ship.
am. I mean, I think I'm kind of halfway between those, where like I think some of the individual use cases are fine. I think like the technology is not, you can use most of these things responsibly. That's just not how they just end up getting used all the time. Like again, today I pulled up Elm Studio on my computer and asked it some questions about Ruby because I still don't understand how to code in Ruby because it's dumb and weird. But like I'm not, having it vibe coding everything I write, or ask, or setting up OpenClaw to like try to automate every interaction and task I have in my life. Um, so I don't think I'm in the hater category. I'm just in the like I don't like a lot of the stated use cases for these things.
Um. Okay, I'm gonna ask. I don't want to try to put words into your mouth. Um. I'm just curious. Is it possible that you don't what you don't like is what the I'm going to just say the idiot crowd who wants to trust their entire life to OpenClaw? Is it that you don't like what they are stating as use cases or trying to do with it, or are you not liking what Google is coming out and saying, "Hey, here are our presentation demo friendly examples of what we think this will be used for, what it could be used for, or how it could be used someday, whatever." Uh,
Um, I think it's just the constant overselling of this technology, because like you said, like it's not perfect. It's gonna have issues. It's gonna have parsing issues and mix up facts and that kind of thing. And I worry about the implications of millions or billions of people using those flawed tools for important tasks. And I think this is more of an issue with the vibe coding and that kind of work of like, if the more and more you rely on these tools to kind of do your thinking and your tasks for you, the more like you become less capable as an individual, and you become more dependent on these tools that might be broken forever. And that's what worries me, is the handing off of as much of your life as possible to these tools.
um. Okay, so yeah, I'm with you on pretty much all of that. I find myself thinking there are certain lines where I look at a thing and think, yeah, no, I don't want to deal with this myself, and I would not bother paying a person to do this for me either, but it has to be done.
Right.
So I'm gonna make up an example that I think is a little bit better than what Google presented. And you didn't watch the presentation, so you didn't actually see this play out. But um, that example they gave of, oh, we're gonna have a backyard party, like a block party kind of thing, and here's the list of people we invited, and it's gonna like we're gonna task Gemini with keeping track of when people uh um, respond that they're going to show up or not or whatever. Like it's keeping track of stuff like that. And let's be honest, this is stuff you could already do with Calendar. The thing they showed off was literally a feature in Calendar 10 years ago. So not a good example. But I think about like raise that bar to something a little bit more like practical and requires actual levels of like coordination. So for example, you're a school administrator and you're not dealing with 15 people or however many their demo on stage had. You're dealing with like 1,000 parents, families, or the guardians of a thousand students. Like at that scale, I don't want to. I wouldn't necessarily want to hire a person just to coordinate with all those parents, when most of what's going to happen is going to be just really basic. Oh yeah, we'll be there. We'll meet with you or something like that. And the rest, there will be some outliers, but if you can get an AI that's going to be able to say, oh, here's a person who's asking follow-up questions, I'll route that to a real person. Whereas most of the people are just going to be saying, yeah, here's our, we'll be there at the time that you said, or something like that. And if you can get something that can coordinate at that level and just simplify those tasks, that makes sense to me. And will an AI screw that up from time to time? I mean, yeah, it could. But then you put in your email out to people like, hey, if anything reacts, this is going through a automated sorting thing. If it puts you in the wrong category or doesn't respond correctly, just email me at this address and we'll sort it out. Like there are ways to correct for AI being stupid, but to me it makes sense that this is starting to solve actual problems. I'm not saying it's doing a great job of it. I'm not saying it's doing a bad job. I don't know. I'm not actively using it, but what I'm saying is this is finally actually turning into something that can be a viable product. That it's not like 2 years ago when everything that was being done with AI was almost like meme level stuff. It was badly written blog posts or AI image generation that the images looked hokey and bad and fake and had too many fingers. We're now to the point of, hey, it's actually spitting out useful stuff and it's able to do certain tasks that realistically, yeah, you can get a human to do it, but do you really need to get a human to sit there and just follow up on emails that are saying, yeah, we'll be there, no we won't? That's where I'm getting, that's where I'm looking at it, is we're getting close to that point that this is actually viable for replacing certain things that really you shouldn't have had to have a person doing it.
I mean, if it's your job, I think maybe that's not the best example because it involves like interacting with a human and you get to the point where the human has to talk to an AI bot on behalf of you, and I hate doing that as the human on the other end of that. Like it's the same thing as like the Taco Bell drive-thrus having the like AI voice that doesn't work.
It is so hilarious to me you brought that up because I've been wanting to find a way to fit a Taco Bell reference into this. I will get to that though. But first I would just want to clarify. I'm not talking about completely replacing the human interaction. I'm talking about like the coordinating step that is almost not a human interaction in the first place. If you send out an email to 1,000 people and say, hey, we need to coordinate a time or a place, or we're holding an event, are you going to be there? Yes, again, obviously some of this stuff could just be handled with Calendar. Let's try to set that apart. If it is that sort of interaction, then it's not really a human interaction. It's literally just, hey, are you going to be there, or are you not going to be there? If you have special concerns, email separately. Like, if you're just having an AI handle that and keep track of who's saying that they're going to be there and who's not going to be there, that's not a human interaction, not like a real human interaction. It's just, I want, as a person, I know this will sound weird, it's kind of like when I go through the grocery store, I want to use self-checkout because I don't want to have the human interaction with the person working a check stand. I don't want to have the human interaction when I'm saying, yeah, I'll be there. I would love to be able to send that and let some automated system go, yeah, they said they'll be there. Cool. Okay, check them off. They're in. Mark them as green or whatever. Like, I want that to be less human. So, like, I get what you're saying too. Like, I don't want every customer service encounter to be automated. Even though sometimes automated shockingly is better. Oh God, the last couple weeks I've dealt with some really terrible customer service stuff. But when I'm dealing with the people are actually the problem, which is that's a whole separate discussion I'm not going to get into, but I'm mad. Yeah, that is an issue. Also, I just have to now talk about the Taco Bell thing. If you go through Taco Bell, I'm just going to say this. If you go through the Taco Bell drive-thru, it's not like McDonald's where they have multiple lanes. You go through Taco Bell drive-thru and you say, hey, I'm here, this is the name. When my car gets up to the window and they hand me a completely wrong order, and apparently they've been doing this to several cars in a row, and so lots of people are now spinning, going back through so they can try to get their correct order. I'm sorry, but Taco Bell, that's a bunch of people running it, and they're terrible at it. Taco Bell is famously bad at this. So I'm just saying, honestly, like, even a bad AI is probably better than some of the people they have working at Taco Bell. Just saying.
Carson said, what are y'all's thoughts on vibe coding small side projects? I think I don't have like an issue with it if it's like a thing you're using yourself or like a thing you need for like a quick task or something. My only issue with it gets to where it's like something you're building for other people that could potentially have security implications. Like, I get really worried if someone's vibe coding like an application with extensive permissions, or is maybe handling passwords or other sensitive data. Again, you can also be a bad human coder and make those same mistakes, but I get a little nervous when I see like this is becoming a recurring thing on, like, again, the Plex Reddit, of people being like, look, I made a new front end, I made a new Plex app, and I'm like, is it a good idea for me to put passwords in this? I don't know if you've ever made an app before or know basic programming.
Okay, so I'm gonna put a bit of a different spin on this. I'm going to sort of redefine the term small side project, because I don't think, I mean, obviously such a thing exists, but I think talking about it that way is, it's no different than saying, oh, I'm working on this giant project, but I'm going to go vibe code this specific UI component. Like, that's it. Like, maybe it's a component that displays a graph of data points or something. It doesn't matter if you're working on a big project or a little side project, as long as the thing that you're building is relatively small and in abstract form. Frankly, I don't see a problem with that. Like, that is something that so far vibe coding seems to be not great at, but serviceable. Sometimes it depends. It really depends. So, which I think when, I doubt we're really going to talk much about it, but that's like, Google has been pushing during I/O. They were pushing this whole thing of of like asking Gemini to create a widget that shows you blank, whatever data, and having it update, a few times a day or whatever. That's a thing that, look, it vibe coding is at least reasonable or capable enough of doing that. And if it is, then hey, obviously it's working. Like, I'm not saying that it's going to work out perfectly or correctly every time. It clearly doesn't. But it's not really that crazy to say at this point that vibe coding is capable of getting like small things right, at least after a couple of attempts. So yeah, I don't really have anything against it. I mean, I think it sucks that we're kind of seeing uh we're seeing like jobs for junior developers disappearing, because that's kind of the stuff that they would get tasked with. I know my first development job, or first few jobs, were kind of go in and start writing um like a control to do this, or a small page to do that. And yeah, that stuff kind of goes away if you can just vibe code it. So, people don't learn how, people can't really grow in a career when when those jobs or those tasks go away. The grunt work, basically. Likewise, I think sometimes if you're not building your own quote unquote small side projects, you don't necessarily understand how and why certain things work the way they do. And if you don't, when it comes time to, either integrate that into a larger project, or to come back and add new features or improve or even just fix a bug, you don't understand why something was done a certain way, or you don't understand that maybe the vibe coding did a thing that worked at the time, but it was actually the wrong way to do it. And then when you try to add a feature or change how it works, you have to go back and basically start from scratch because the thing was done wrong the first time. So yeah, you're vibe coding some small side thing, 9 out of 10 times probably fine. You're probably coming out well ahead in terms of time usage. Uh, on the other hand, it's that other 1 out of 10 times that you're going to be going, oh crap. Now you have to like get into the weeds and figure it out. And all that time that you saved those other 9 times, you're going to spend probably that much just like getting your brain back into the mode of working on those kinds of problems or tasks. And so, it probably won't actually be that long, but still you have to figure things out again, and that's where you start losing time and having trouble. And like Corbin said, security, uh privacy concerns, things like that. To be fair, vibe coding sometimes will get that stuff right when you wouldn't have. Other times it's going to get that stuff completely wrong, because of course it will. So, I think that that's where sort of if you are smart enough to use vibe coding as a tool to maybe create the starting point of a thing, and then you sit down and like fix it, that I think is a better place to come from than just sitting down and saying, oh, I'm going to vibe code this start to finish and I don't need to know how any of it works, because that ruins it. Like, you're just trusting that everything will be right, and you shouldn't do that ever.
I think my divider would probably be, is this a thing that needs to be maintained somewhat frequently? Because like at that point, you gotta pull the AI out again to do updates, and it, that usually ends up with like it rewriting your thing constantly. Or if you decide in the future, like, hey, this is a thing that like I would like to, you know, update with my own human natural coding ability, you're gonna open the code and be like, what's going on here? It's gonna be a mess in there.
I don't know if you remember this. I think this is a video that was shared that we all watched, but I'm not sure. There was a guy. He was a maintainer on a game emulator. I don't remember what system it was for, but it was an emulator for one of the old like handheld game consoles, I think. Um, and he was going through function by function and just asking. I don't know. I think it was OpenAI, um, or ChatGPT. Sorry. Uh, I think he was just asking it like, "Hey, optimize this function," and sometimes it came up with something that was less optimal. Other times it would come up with something that was about the same, or it wouldn't have any improvements. But about one out of every 5, 10 functions, whatever, it would come up with some improvement, and he'd sit there, he'd analyze it and go, "That's really clever." And then, like, once it was done, it's like, okay, I'm going to quickly document why this is better and what this is doing. So he'd add comments to the code, and then he'd move on to the next one. I would argue that that is a phenomenal use of AI. And okay, at that point, we're not talking about vibe coding. Like, that's not vibe coding anymore. But that's using AI to improve the human code, and then it's making it really easy to maintain because it's well documented. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that, as long as as long as you're treating it correctly.
Yeah, I don't have anything else to say on that. And I guess now we can go to Android XR. So slight deviation from depressing or repetitive AI announcements, I
Oh, are we
guess.
skipping over the eyewear thing?
No, that's Android XR. It's all
Oh,
the
okay.
same. Yeah, Google's mixing it together. I have issues with
Oh,
mixing
yeah,
it
okay.
together.
Sorry, I was looking at the
Um,
titles of the pages and
yeah. So uh, the only thing I wanted out of this event was some news about the headsets, because there has been the one update for the Galaxy XR this year that was really buggy, and they had to fix it like 2 weeks later. So that wasn't great. And there's still no like more affordable headset on the horizon. The Galaxy XR is still only available in 2 countries, US or Korea. So if this is an actual platform, I would kind of expect to see a longer term plan or some new hardware or something. Didn't get any of that. That's kind of what I was expecting, but I hoped for something better. Instead, they pretty much only talked about what I will refer to as henceforth as the pervert glasses. So there are, as was leaked, I believe, like a day or two before
just to
the big day.
interject, the mere fact that one of them is from a company named Gentle Monster.
They're not beating the allegations.
No. Also, the
Um,
fact that they do look very pervy.
yeah. Um, so they showed off. So there wasn't really any. There was a little bit of news about the FXC headsets, but I'll get to that in a bit. The main thing they were showing off were glasses, but not even the glasses that people want. So they've now what I didn't find this out. Hold on, where is the Android XR website? Because I saw this. Um, they have God. Um, I'm trying to find the page where I was reading this. Might have been uh I think it was on the Android XR development page. Maybe this is it. Oh wait, here it is. Sorry, I know this is very fun for me to watch me sort of just go for a minute straight. Okay, I can't find it, but one thing I found interesting was there's now a bunch of different discrete platforms for Android XR. So there's the wireless, or like the standalone VR headset thing, like the Galaxy XR, like standard VR thing you think of your mind. They're targeting that. they are targeting wireless glasses, both with and without a screen in them. And then there's also a category of glasses, I believe, that would always have a screen in them that are wired, like a wire going down. And that's what they have with the X-Real development kits that they've been showing off. So I didn't know that was ever part of the plan, is to eventually have glasses that have a big wire going down into your pocket for all the, computer bits to live in.
Okay, I think I found what you're looking for. I'll just plop it into the document at the bottom.
This isn't the page I was looking at, but it's the same thing. So yeah, so now there's a bunch of different. There's more discrete platforms for Android XR than I was expecting, and I'm also still not entirely sure how much overlap there is with all of these, because when they're talking about the glasses, they're talking about like pairing it to an iPhone or an Android phone, like in a very similar way to how Wear OS watches used to work. So those are not like standalone Android devices. So like, even though Google keeps saying Android XR on all of these, they sound like very different software stacks across all these platforms. But anyway, so the main announcement was the Gentle Monster and Warby Parker glasses, which do not have screens in them, I believe.
Correct. They are the audio only versions.
Yeah. So these are just like the early Meta glasses and like the Snapchat glasses. Like, just there is a camera on them that can act as input, and there is a speaker and microphone in them for like voice interactions, and that's it.
Correct.
And there's no pricing or anything for these, but it's all of the usual features you would expect, like asking Gemini about whatever's in front of you, and again, like, I think in theory this is fine. Like, it's just a different form factor for like what you would use a smartwatch for. In a lot of ways, but I cannot personally get over the fact of like, you are pointing a camera in front of you everywhere you go, walking past random people who probably don't want a camera in their face if you'd ask them. So because I wouldn't want to be on the receiving end of the pervert glasses, I will not subject others to that by wearing them. So I have to do a hard pass on this entire category of product. In theory, that problem also exists with the Galaxy XR, but I wouldn't be wearing that in public. I would look like a dork and also be violating people's privacy, unfortunately.
Okay, so I'm going to sort of devil's advocate this one.
You're on the side of the pervert glasses?
No, this is the devil's advocate argument. The devil's advocate does not mean that you agree with the argument you're making, only that you're making it for discussion purposes. That being said, there are already basic like spy camera glasses that cost a fraction of this that people have been wearing around for like a decade. And obviously those have used to have crappy video quality. Their video quality's gotten better, I assume. It's hard not to imagine that.
I think he is, David. I think he is.
I mean, considering the cameras we have on our phones and how good those are, the cameras that they're sticking in those glasses aren't that much different.
Right. But people understand, like, they see you raising your phone, potentially recording them. But like with these, it is intentionally discreet in the same way as the earlier cameras you mentioned. But I think there's
the spy camera glasses they make a point of hiding the cameras as well as possible. Right. I hate using the word at least, but these glasses, the Warby Parkers, frankly, those cameras are actually a little, I don't want to say too obvious, but they're pretty easy to spot. These ones from Gentle Monster, honestly, like, I would miss those. I don't know that I would see that if I was just walking past someone and looked at their face. I think those cameras are
And
super well hidden.
I'm assuming there's not a light on them when they're recording because they're in theory always there's
Uh,
not a light in any of these pictures, but maybe that's
as
happening.
as far as I understand, well, they haven't discussed recording, as
Right.
far as I know, and
They shouldn't
I
be always recording because like they
I
wouldn't be acting
think
as input until you ask something in theory.
right, and I'm gonna say, because as far as I know, they never actually discussed recording. Now, I think any sane person is gonna look at these and go, well, yeah, of course they'll support recording, but if they haven't discussed it, there is a possibility that these will not actually record. They might just be using the cameras for input for the AI. Uh, Whether or not that's the case, I don't know. I'm just acknowledging maybe we're over assuming to presume that they can record. Um, and yeah, I'm pretty sure you have to speak out loud to tell them to record, but I don't know. Maybe they have touch input that you could use. Um,
And even
and
if they don't like
maybe they will
video
have lights.
record,
I don't know.
yeah, like even if they don't like video record to the user, there was the case with the meta glasses where like the random contractors were seeing video
Yeah, that's a problem
of
in itself.
yeah, of like, you know, people banging while wearing these. Um so
Yeah,
yeah.
I like Austin's.
Yeah.
I'd change my path to avoid someone wearing those any glasses that look like that. Yeah,
Austin
I'm
will
with you
not
on
be
that.
within 100 feet of the losers wearing glasses that look like these. I respect it.
Um,
Yeah.
to be fair,
You know what looks
that's
cool.
kind of how I
You know
feel a
what
little bit when I see
glasses?
Warby Parker glasses most of the time. So yeah,
You know
I'm
what
with you.
glasses do look cool is these over here.
Oh boy.
When I my first job at Office Max, one of the first days I was there was they still had a box of garbage from the Windows 10 launch. And
Oh
they said,
no.
Corbin, would you like one of these glasses? And I was like, sure. And so I still have them. My Windows 10 branded glasses. These are pretty cool.
Designed by Warby Parker.
Immense swag. I should have a picture. This should be one of my pictures on my Hinge profile.
Oh God. Yes. By the way, just to avoid possible who knows what craziness comes someday. These are not actually designed by Warby Parker. They just look like
That's
they
really
could
funny.
be. Um,
Austin said, "Do you see in Metro UI now?" I wish that'd be cool. They kind of look like custom Ray Bans. Oof,
Yikes.
that hurts.
So it is actually kind of true. um, yeah. So anyway, Fluent AI. Oh my God. Um, okay. So, then Hoopy, to also play devil's advocate, what remaining expectation of public privacy are these violating anyway? Feels like that ship has sailed. And that's the other thing I was going to say is we had the same discussion, like verbatim, when Google Glass came out in 2013. And there were people getting into bar fights because someone would walk into a bar wearing Google Glass, even if it wasn't recording, even if the battery was dead, and trust me, it was always dead. Um, Glass was one of those things that people got so up in arms about it because they were convinced that every person wearing a glass headset was walking into the bathroom so that they could stare at other people and record. And then I feel like that discussion never happened when Snap came out with their creepy glasses. And then the discussion never happened again when Facebook came out with whatever crap thing they have. And the discussion just kept not happening anymore. But then it's back to happening because Google.
I mean, I don't even think it's happening. Like I agree, we seem to have sailed on that conversation, but like whether or not it makes a meaningful impact in my expectation of privacy in a public setting, I think is beside the point. I'm just sort of in the like, the golden rule situation of like, I don't want a camera pointed at my face while I'm walking past someone, so I'm not going to do that to other people. And I think there's that, and then a little bit of the element of like, I don't need to make this problem worse, right? The cameras are there because the local police department put them up, or some business owner put them up, or again, the thing I think of is every time I'm doing just yesterday, I was walking at night around a neighborhood because it has better lighting, and I'm probably walking past like 30 people's Ring cameras.
Oh,
So it's like,
it,
I don't,
that's
I don't,
optimistic.
right. So like, I don't like that. I'm not going to contribute to that problem by myself getting a Ring camera. You know, it's that kind of thing. It's like, maybe that's gone, but like, I'm not going to make the world worse. Is my perspective.
Um. Okay, so yeah,
And I will
I'm.
think ill of people who do it to me.
Uh, well, one thing that I think is kind of an interesting spin on that is, um, I'm going to bring this up in kind of a weird way, or maybe not. I don't know. But I think about um, it's like wiretap laws. In some states, you have single party consent and then all party consent. Um, but in pretty much every state, if somebody is listening in and recording your conversation and they are not part of the conversation, that's pretty much always illegal. Uh, Unless you've got warrants and whatever. Um, when it comes to a Ring camera, no one consented to that was part of what's happening. So I feel like that is one of those good example. Obviously, it's public, or Ring cameras are pointed out at the public, so that's a different situation. But yeah, when I think about it that way, it's like, well, if I was walking around with, say, uh, forgive me for using kind of the really annoying person example, but if someone was walking around vlogging and they've got their phone out pointed at themselves, or an action camera, or maybe the best example here would be a 360 camera, because they're definitely recording even people that they aren't seeing or looking at, and it looks like the camera's not pointed at them. Anyway, in all those scenarios, people might get mad at them because they're annoying people, because they're probably talking very loud, being very obnoxious in public. But setting that aside, most people aren't thinking, oh no, I'm being captured in their vlog, and therefore I'm kind of being spied on. Very few people are thinking about it like that. Actually, I take that back. I think a lot of people probably think that way, but still.
I'm definitely thinking of that every time I see that. I'm like, whose weirdo Snapchat story am I ending up in here?
Yeah, I'm sure that actually does get thought about a lot, but no one is making that sorry, I keep trying to overgeneralize there. I think a lot of people have just kind of moved past that. Like, they've just accepted that level of privacy is gone for the most part. It's just kind of toast. Whereas if I'm walking down the street and I show up on 600 Ring cameras, which I think is closer to the number that we're actually getting to these days, then yeah, at any point the police are just going to search all of that recorded footage. They're going to look through it without warrants at this point. There's at least a few AIs that are just watching this stuff and identifying every face that goes by, tracking your movements. And even the owners of the Ring cameras did not consent to this. And they're not even the ones being monitored. So yeah, I think that is a bigger privacy discussion even than some random person wearing glasses walking around who may or may not be recording.
Yeah, again, I don't like it, so I will not, do it to others. And I will continue to refer to them as pervert glasses until I see a good faith effort to cut down on. Again, it needs a big light. I think when the cameras are on. The problem is that the Meta ones have that too, and it's apparently easy to bypass, so it's useless.
Yeah.
So
Well, and it's always something that you can cover up. Let's be
yeah,
honest. The light can always be covered. Unless it's like
right.
some big LED, like bulbous LED light that's sticking out the
Right.
top, which no one's going to want to wear. Then yeah,
Yeah,
it's pretty much always going to be easy to hide.
Yeah, I mostly see the light or the fact of the object being ginormous, like the headset, just being like the the best effort from the company making this to, be responsible. In the same way that like AirTags are supposed to beep and send push notifications if you attach them to a person and they, walk around places. Obviously, there are ways to like bypass that and like cut out the speaker and stuff, but Apple has tried to make it not that way, and that's like I for me that's okay. I know for others it's still not enough. There's a lot of potential takes there, but I just look at these as they are right now, and I think I don't like that this exists and that Google is hawking them.
Well, for what
That's
it's worth, this doesn't exist yet. You can't buy these.
Well, they want it to exist, so I will give
Yeah,
my criticism now.
it's I'm just saying it. This is a temporal point, but yeah, it doesn't exist yet. It's only a matter of time, though.
Yep.
I do wonder. Oh, here's a weird twist on this. Okay. All right.
This better be a quick one because I need to get to the actual Android XR stuff.
Right. Okay, but weird twist. Okay, so you're uncomfortable with these, but where do you stand on the exact same discussion point if someone's walking around wearing like the Apple Vision Pro or the Galaxy XR headset?
It'd be the same.
Okay.
It's just.
I mean, because that's as
It's
obvious
just-
as it gets, and no one,
Right.
like everyone's just going to assume, okay, you're recording, right? Like,
Yeah.
even if they're
yeah,
not, like
it's-
you just assume people are.
Right. Yeah. It's any form. It's like it can be a big headset. It can be a guy with a GoPro strapped to his head, whatever. Like it's any situation where you're just kind of walking around, like whether or not it's like in your hand or not, you're just like pointing in all directions in a public space. That gives me the ick. Yeah, so the main, I guess, surprise here was that Google didn't even have there's not even a release date for the glasses without a screen in them. And the promise of the glasses with screens in them are even further out. I think they said the X rear glasses are coming before the end of 2026, but those are the ones that have the big wire going down that with all the computer bits in your pocket, like the Galaxy XR. Well, in that case, it's just the battery, but with the glasses, it's probably almost everything. So yeah, kind of disappointing, even if you did care about the glasses, which I don't. And then there was a little bit of news for the rest of Android XR, which is that they had a new developer SDK where basically they're getting more components of Android like in a stable state for Android XR in general, which that makes me feel a little bit better about the platform. It's like, okay, well, I'm not seeing evidence of Google cutting their losses yet, which would be my main concern. It is a little bit concerning that there is still one headset and not any sign that another one is coming, but they're still building this thing up. Again, they could be doing more. I would have liked to see them talk about the next future headset updates in the same way that like Apple talked about Vision Pro updates alongside iOS for like 2 minutes, in their announcements.
Well, they never talked about hardware changes, which makes sense because they clearly did not have a second headset actually in development, like a
Right,
good chunk of
right. I
that.
just mean,
Um,
and there was genuinely a few new features in the update that they just rolled out like a month ago. So it's not, that weird that they don't have anything to show off. I just would have liked to see that to make me feel a little bit better. Um,
um, what I think would make me feel better is if they're, I'm not even sure this is a fair criticism because it hasn't been that long, but if they're at developer preview 4 for the SDK, I was going to say I'd like to see them coming out with more stuff relating to either development or showing off more apps, but I guess it really hasn't been that long. And I'm sure their developer previews are probably somewhat uh, like evolving with feedback from the community already. So
yeah, and
yeah, I don't know. I agree. It feels like they're not really giving that much attention to Android XR, but I'm not sure if I should be expecting more or if this is just sort of like the natural, hey, like boom and bust cycle. Like you're going to get nothing for like 9 months, and then all of a sudden you'll get maybe something small, maybe something big, and then they go dark for another 6 to 9 months, and suddenly you get something huge, or maybe nothing at all, or whatever. Like I don't know what to expect in this case. I remember when Android Auto happened, they definitely went through a very boom and bust cycle with that. Android TV went through the same thing. Like you just heard nothing for sometimes a year or 2 years at a time. And then all of a sudden they're like, hey, we're back. And let's tell you about the huge thing that we've done. Or sometimes it was hey, we're back. We just got like a 2-minute update. See you again in a couple years. So yeah, I don't know where this is going to be.
and uh, Chat said, "Are the X-Real glasses not functionally a headset?" I've not seen a demo of them, so I'm not sure how close the software is.
Uh,
Um,
did you not see that Dieter Bone
no,
demo?
I forgot to watch that,
It's
but
good.
so I don't know. It's closer to a headset because it has like more standalone electronics in it, but I don't know how if it's going to be running necessarily the same software, because up until this point the interface they've showed off for the any glasses are very different than the headset. Like the glasses stuff is like notifications like directly in front of you, like with every app being translucent to some effect, which is not true for most Android XR stuff. So
Um,
uh
everything that they've shown off, as far as I'm concerned, Android, or the headset, like the actual, like what you bought, that is, as far as I can tell, that is a full scale, headset, like in the traditional sense that we think of. It's AR, VR,
yeah.
therefore XR. The display glasses, which is how they referred to them during the keynote as audio glasses and display glasses. Um, the display glasses, yeah, those are basically Google Glass. They are just a heads up display. They, as far as I could tell from any of the demos, maybe I'm wrong. I don't think they do any sort of like tracking in the real world, as in like, let's say they pop up a thing saying, "Oh, over there is a business for whatever." Like if you turn your head a little bit, I don't think it tracks with like where that business's door is or whatever. I think it's just like, "Oh, there's like a little thing that pops up in your view and it just says, "Oh, you're looking at such and such business." And that's it. Like um so yeah, I don't think that, I mean, I would agree with, technically you could call those glasses a headset if you want to, but I don't think that's the terminology that quite fits. Kind of the same way like people would describe drone, like fully autonomous war drones, with the term drone, and then people would also say uh drone to describe like a DJI, camera drone. And then you get the people who come in saying, well, people call them drones, but they shouldn't be called drones. They should be called a different thing. Like this is, I think using a term headset in this way is kind of the inverse of that. Those glasses are kind of a headset, like in their base core function, but they're not what anyone's thinking of with headsets. Sorry, maybe that was too long, but
Yeah, I have not looked closely enough at the glasses to figure out exactly how different it is from the headset Android XR. But like, it seems like Google is trying to get to a point where they're all work kind of similar. That's what the SDK post is kind of getting across. And they also mentioned that they have official that Android XR now has official support in Unreal Engine and Godot engine, and there's been some updates to Unity support. So maybe that will help get more games on the headsets. I would sure hope so, because that's kind of the main issue with them right now. I would really love standalone VR chat so I could play that sometimes without my PC being on, or God forbid if I travel with the headset, which I still can't really do because there's still only one travel case for the headset, and it's the one that Samsung made that they charge $250 for, and I refuse to pay that. So it's going to go like kind of sketchy in a bag if I ever need to lug this somewhere.
oh, look at you, just so spoiled that you need to have a
Yeah,
custom carrier for it.
I get nervous because it's so much glass.
Well, it's so
It's like
expensive.
it's a lot of glass and it's weirdly shaped, so I can't just slide it into a backpack like my laptop.
Yeah,
Um,
no, yeah,
so
that's fair.
I'm sure if push comes to shove, I could get like a small duffel bag and enough like uh what's the like a bubble wrap in there, just kind of push it all in, cover up the lenses so those don't get scratched by said bubble wrap, but it would be really janky and make me feel nervous.
Corbin's talking about perv glasses, and he wants to go find a duffel bag with bubble
Yeah,
wrap in it.
I need
Um,
my duffel glasses for my non-pervy glasses.
so the what I actually want to see you do is go get like a custom Pelican case, and
Oh yeah,
like do a custom cutout from foam to slide the glasses into. That's
I've
the
got
perfect solution for you.
I've got my briefcase like I'm on I'm the guy in Hitman, and I'm about to deploy, but instead of taking out, my long range sniper rifle, it's just an overpriced VR headset.
Okay, so Hoopy is basically saying, and judging by the headline, or not headline, but like the section heading that I've got pulled up on the page, evidently the wired XR glasses actually are supposed to be the same as the headsets in software function. Um,
Okay.
and so they do have like the hand-eye tracking, or sorry, well, hand tracking for pinch and gestures and stuff like that. They're gonna have depth mapping, eye tracking for its own purposes, all that stuff. So apparently, yeah, I guess the X-Real glasses are supposed to be the same as the headsets, just obviously
That
different form factor.
that would be kind of that'd be kind of fun to play a VR game with just the glasses. Um, of course, it'd
I
be
want
like,
to see someone playing a VR game with just the glasses, but in like an airplane,
yeah,
just sitting there in a seat and your hands whipping out and like clobbering the person sitting next to you, and yeah, that needs to happen now.
also said wired display glasses would be a very weird product to come out, knowing wireless ones are possible and coming. Yeah, I guess that would be a concern if I'm plopping down money for them, but also like I still don't know how the fully wireless ones are supposed to be comparable to wired if they show up at any point in the next 5 years. Because
I
like
just need to know what the battery life situation is going to be like with
yeah,
something like that.
that's a lot of electronics you have to cram into eyeglasses and a battery. So like if they're comparable in functionality, I don't see how the battery lasts for more than 30 minutes. Um, if that.
30 minutes,
You're
yeah, no, not even close for the amount that that's doing. I think about, again, okay, look,
I'm opening VR chat on my glasses and the battery dies in 16 seconds.
I think about Google Glass again. And sorry to go back to a thing that is over a decade old, and was made poorly even when it was made. Holy God, what were they thinking using that OMAP processor? That was dumb as hell. Anyway, um, those things had the simplest display tech, and it was very low power usage for what it was doing. And they did a lot to preserve as much battery life as possible, and they still had abysmal battery life. I cannot fat. Oh, and their cameras were, the camera on the Google Glass was off most of the time. Like, unless you specifically turned it on to record, or there were a few apps that you made some use of it briefly. Unless you were doing that, the camera was always off. These glasses have to have the cameras on all the time. Um, they're they're running much more software, much more hardware, uh, and and they're going to be projecting more often than Google Glass was. Google Glass wasn't even projecting most of the time. I'm sorry, but I cannot fathom any scenario where something that weighs roughly the same, or even if they're a little tiny bit heavier, there's no way those things can have battery life without an attached battery that's going to last more than, I'd be shocked if they could even hit 20 minutes. I mean it, like, this isn't an exaggeration. I'd genuinely be shocked if they could outlast 20 minutes doing all that. It just does not seem plausible to me. I think to do that level of processing, um, silicon carbon batteries. Uh, I think to do that level of processing, you're probably going to be down to like 15 minutes, for, at least for a first gen. Maybe you can get it up to 20 when you, like, on a second gen. Um, but this does not seem plausible to me that that's a viable product for the market. Not yet.
Yeah. So yeah, no news on the headset front, unfortunately. Um, but it's not like technically dead. It's definitely not in the like Google abandonment phase that would concern me. Um, but I would really like to see one other headset at some point in the near future at a lower price, and or the Galaxy XR being available in more than two countries, because both of those things are those seem like the dampener on any on this platform getting any kind of reasonable market share.
Um, I'll still defend that basically on the grounds of, hey, they're launching a first model and getting everything sorted out. I can kind of understand not necessarily trying to make a product that's designed for more languages, more like a wider differing user base, trying to support everything, working out possibly various issues with different laws. Like, I think I think it's reasonable to do that with your, what is effectively like your developer platform
Eh,
release.
I don't know,
Um,
because it's just Android. It's just Android on your face, so it already has, you know, fine internet internationalization. I know, like, obviously Wi-Fi hardware stuff is going to be different between countries and that kind of radio and
but they're probably, I mean, correct in some of that, but they built a whole new UI for it. Like, that whole UI is not yet designed for full internationalization. Um, or at least I would assume not. And when I say full internationalization, bear in mind, you've got languages that are right to left. You've got, uh, you have to account for languages like German, where words are like 8,000 letters long. And there are a lot of other things to account for, which, for your, when you're just trying to get all the technology working, like the functional stuff working, you don't necessarily want to get caught up in all the UI details, like out of the gate. So I think that's part of why they're doing it. That, and just maybe they're trying to avoid like complications with language barriers when they do get feedback. So, if you sell this to only English speaking countries or English first countries, most of the people who are going to be buying them and giving you feedback are going to be coming to you speaking like you and I do, where the developers are going to have an easier time working with that, and eventually it can grow out. I don't get mad at them for having a small rollout on day one. I I think the bigger concern is that they're not showing up with a better story of like, hey, here's also a headset that's going to come out in like a year that's going to cost half as much as the Galaxy XR.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
we need that story more than we need to know that it's going to be showing up in, say, Africa in the next year.
Yeah. Also, he said in the chat, I have to imagine the standard accessibility features are probably a nightmare compared to where they would be for a real wide release.
Yeah, that too, for sure.
Possibly. Yeah. I'd just like to see something. That was my best case scenario out of this event, is like, show me you have one hardware product on the way that is not the pervert glasses, and they failed on that front. They even failed on that front because they're like, the ones with the screen, it's soon. Don't worry about it. It'll be here when it be here.
Hey, again, you don't know that they're pervert glasses.
Yes, I do.
Let's see. Hoopy saying you're gonna bat for the headset XR devices here, but do think that they're a dumb distraction from glasses and don't know why the Galaxy XR exists.
Well, the Galaxy XR exists because Samsung and Google thought that the Vision Pro was going to matter, and then it didn't. So I think the main reason for it existing is already gone. However, there is still a market for VR AR headsets, and they can continue to go down that road if they want. I hope they do, because I mostly like my headset. But that's why I think it exists, is because everyone they anticipated Apple would do something.
Hot take. I think. Oh man, this is gonna be a weird hot take, but I think they're thrilled Apple fumbled so hard, and yeah, that the Vision Pro is basically like not dead, but it's effectively dead. Because I think Google was expecting to have to fight against Meta and Apple, and now they just have to fight Meta.
And Meta also gave up on like that kind of headset.
Wait, what? Like, what are you talking about?
There was gonna be. They made the Quest Pro as like a weird one-off thing before the Vision Pro, as like a higher-end premium kind of like productivity thing, and it never got a sequel, and it was discontinued. So they have the Quest 3 now. There's supposedly going to be a Quest 4 in the future, but it's probably still going to be the same, like, mostly gaming thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not suggesting that that these are exactly the same products.
Right.
But what I think is Google is trying to make sure Google is doing the software side, Samsung's obviously doing the hardware. But where I see this is more Google and Samsung are releasing a product that, yes, it was more similar to the Vision Pro than it was the Quest. But that doesn't mean that Quest hardware isn't going to eventually go back into this same space. And I think it almost invariably, it certainly will. It's just a matter of time. So Google Google and Samsung want to be in this industry. They want to make these products, and they just have one fewer competitor to deal with now. The product still has to prove that it can be profitable, which is highly dubious, but it is what it is. Also, to be fair, they're going to work on this software anyway, and the technology, the hardware technology that's going into all of this, it's all going to get worked on anyway, and it's going to go into more than just one product and one product line. So, if XR is going to be going into the headsets, it's also going to go into the wired glasses. I don't see any reason they shouldn't be working on it, and they're going to keep working on it anyway, at least until it completely stratospherically bombs, which is still a possibility.
Yep. I mean, I still like my headset and I use it for several hours every week. It would just, be nice if they kept working on the things that I care about and not the glasses.
Hoopy making, actually, that's, yeah, kind of the point. Apple validated that the product category should exist, though I think by maybe pulling the product, I'm not sure if that counteracts that. Anyway, but yeah, now they don't have to compete with Apple. So Apple brought attention to the product category. I'm just wondering, will Apple pulling out of it, at least temporarily, end up like hurting anyone who tries to be in this product category?
I mean, the category of headsets has existed and there's been demand for it for, depending on how far you want to go back. Right. But that's it. A lot of it overlaps, right? Like the stupid HoloLens thing was like kind of also going to be for games, but
Oh
then
yeah,
it
they
ended
definitely
up
showed
being,
that.
yeah.
But
And
that's the
like
thing.
Windows,
Apple
and there,
explicitly didn't show it. Like they made a point of, hey, we're not going to show this for gaming, which I remember calling out a lot.
yeah, so this kind of thing has existed. It's just everyone's attention kind of comes and goes. Like Google, had Daydream, a couple, not even that long ago.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
that was really disappointing
I,
bailout.
I mean, I have mine. I think it's over here.
I have mine somewhere, I just don't know where.
Behold,
Yep.
it's got. And I had the worst phone for this. The only Daydream compatible phone I ever had was the original small Google Pixel. And let me tell you, VR does not look good stretched up from a 5-inch smartphone screen, but it did work and it was pretty cool.
I had the Pixel 2 XL or
Mhm.
Pro or whatever, the larger one. Um, and yeah, it was an okay phone for it. I mean, it wasn't the greatest, but it was fine. Um, and yeah, having the larger size screen definitely seems like a good thing, though. You could definitely still very easily see the pixels. So I was never the biggest fan of that
Yeah,
headset.
those were some chunky pixels for sure. Okay, so it is 9:30, so I have to go now and find food and then finish work. Um, so I will leave you to the remainder of the IO fun, unfortunately.
Okay. For what it's worth, you already said you didn't really care at all about the developer stuff. Um, and I actually didn't read any of the YouTube stuff. Uh, can you give like a 5 word? What did they actually announce, or is it just, hey, it's AI on video?
It was like remixing, like people can like remix videos into shorts that have AI prompts in them.
Yeah. Okay.
Basically, yeah.
Joy.
Hmm. Okay. Well, I will leave you to the remainder of whatever's left. So
All right. Well, have fun. Have
goodbye,
good food.
all.
We'll catch you
Thank
later.
you. Bye.
Oop, oop. Um, that is not the one I was going to pop to. Let's find the correct one. That's not it. Oh. Huh. Actually, that's kind of better. All right. So, yeah, hit the YouTube thing, then I'll come back to the developer stuff because I have. It's kind of actually sad we ran long enough that Corbin didn't get to be a part of this because I have words about their pricing model. But I also have a few other things to say about the presentation in general. But the YouTube stuff, again, obviously, I basically just said it. I didn't read any of this. There's obviously actually not that much here to read. But as I look at it, yeah, this is basically the exact same stuff they showed off during I/O. Just YouTube has packaged it in its own simplified form, which is basically the thing that they showed off in the video was, hey, you can basically take any video and say, oh, here's the part I want to keep, here's this thing or that thing, and change these other things to be this way or that way. And yeah, that's pretty much what Gemini Omni is going to do. It is cool to see. It's impressive technology. I not to over I don't want to say over criticize, but not to over question it, but I never saw any mention of like how many tokens something takes. How expensive is it to do any of these remixes? So yeah, let's see. Currently available for premium members. Plan to roll out broadly to all YouTube users soon. So, is this just something you can do for free? I doubt it. Yeah, as I skim over this, creators are always in control of their content and have the flexibility to opt out of visual remix and shorts at any time. Wait a second. Okay, this is something I was wondering about, but that phrasing gives me an immediate, oh no. So wait, this remix with Omni is rolling out today at no cost in YouTube Shorts Remix. Okay, so apparently it's free. That's a choice. I am pretty close to willing to bet that changes someday. Okay, so the question I was going to ask and seems to be answered. So if you're just watching like some YouTube video and you decide to clip it, you can then, on the clip you made of someone else's video, you can just remix it. So you can have them do whatever you decide you want them to do in the video. Or you can change the video in some way. That does not seem okay. This should not be an opt-out. This needs to be opt-in. They're completely screwing up on that. Let's see. So, Hoopy, if I recall, the two main announcements are that they put AI search mode into YouTube and Gemini Omni into the Creator Studio. Yeah, the AI search mode thing in YouTube. I saw that announcement already. It was Ask YouTube. That's what they're calling it, if I remember. And yeah, or I think it was. And it's a fine idea. I don't actually really have too much objection to it, except for the fact that all the things that Corbin was complaining about with the AI search mode in Google, it's basically what they're kind of going to start doing to YouTube. And by that I mean, if you would have gone to YouTube to watch like a how-to video or something that instructs you, I can totally see them sort of stealing views from the people who made the good content and sort of screwing them over, at least to some extent. Whereas, they're showing the friendlier side of it here, where it's entertainment style stuff, I guess. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, these look like clever, funny things, and for like acted out entertainment content, yeah, this would be neat to some extent. Um, Less a fan of the fact that it'll eventually go to screwing up other content, but yeah. Anyway, it is what it is. Um, Still got to admit, it is impressive what they're able to do. Okay, I'm gonna pause that, otherwise it's gonna distract me. Um, so yeah, there's that, and they showed off a ton of stuff with Google Omni, which look, I will fully agree at this point. We're crossing into the oh crap, this is dangerously good. Um, I think a discerning eye can still pick out where things look kind of fake or dubious, but not always. Even a discerning eye is going to start struggling a lot with this. So yeah, their ability to churn out really impressive video quality is scary. Um, let's see. Oh, and Hoopy, you also said that you made 3 videos in Gemini yesterday before hitting a 5-hour reset timeout. That's good, but yeah, I'm curious what direction this is going to go, because if enough people are using this, I think they're going to hit like very expensive usage patterns very quickly. Um, oh, and that's with Pro. Okay. Though can you make videos that look decent with anything lower than that? Um, I really haven't tried generating videos at all. I think I did one. Uh, and that one was like a simple, more like a sticker, not like a proper video. Um, which if I remember, I did, and that was months ago, but that was it within Google Messages. So like I think they were just using like an older model or something for that. Um, let's see. So okay, I can. Sorry, I'm really quickly. I made some notes and I'm trying to pick out the things that don't need to be said or were already said. Um, okay. I'll move that one up because I do want to say that before that thing. Okay. Um, yeah, okay. Yeah, Nano Banana was a lot better at sort of sort of having the correct outcomes from the prompts. Um, yeah, the quality wasn't necessarily better. It was just it was definitely more comp it could comprehend what you were asking it to do better than some of their others. Okay, so let's see. Really quick, actually, I'm just gonna get these kind of out of the way. Uh, the whole event. I just want to make these comments so that I'm not thinking about going back to them. The whole event, it definitely had more fluff moments. It sort of filled time as much as it was announcing stuff. Um, and like I said, I did kind of start zoning out, especially during the developer keynote, which look, it was they were announcing technically some cool stuff, but the developer keynote got so dull at at a certain point. I just was having the hardest time focusing on it. Um, that being said, going back to the regular keynote, um, oh, I can close that window now. Cool. Going back to the regular keynote, um, look, I'm not gonna take credit for this. Maybe a little. But Sundar. Sundar was not as boring as he usually is. He was cracking some cracking some jokes. So congratulations to them for hiring a few writers for him. Um, and like they made a specific point of uh like calling out that dumb AI generated picture of him eating the burger, which was, kind of amusing. So, hey, like I said, not exactly taking credit for it, but kind of a little. They are listening, and if they're gonna put him into video or into keynotes, have a little bit of character, have a little personality. So I'll give them credit for that improvement. Um, okay, so anyway, just had to call that out. Um, okay, let's also move that window out of the way. It's not doing me any good. All right. Sorry, just a little bit of screen real estate management, and get that off screen because it is not helping. All right, cool. Um, so yeah, the YouTube stuff kind of interesting, but not a lot to say on that. Or not a lot else. Okay, and not that one. This one. Okay, so Google Anti-Gravity. If you watch the developer keynote, you really saw this. They said anti-gravity about as many times as Sundar would say AI or machine learning or something during the keynote. Like they said it I swear, like every 15 seconds. Uh, it got so over pushed. Um, they're moving, as far as I can tell, pretty much trying to move most development over to anti-gravity. They launched the anti-gravity CLI, command line interface, so you can now do a lot of the same stuff from there. You can fire up agents to run from this, so we're getting deeper and deeper into the agentic coding thing. One of the things, and I actually neglected to mention it, or forgot to mention this, but earlier when Corbin was calling out, like, you can do cron jobs and events, and basically, like, that's something we already could do. There was a lot of, or some of the talk that they were doing during the developer keynote was focusing pretty heavily on, like, your continuous integration pipeline, having AI be integrated into that and watching as like the logs go by, checking what things are happening, and being able to like repair the pipeline if it breaks, or being able to make adjustments to things sort of autonomously, which, don't get me wrong, I think is a colossally stupid idea, because holy crap, are you just begging to have bugs quietly introduced that way. But I will grant it is also kind of cool and an interesting solution. Um, they're definitely getting deeper into the idea that whole jobs in the development world kind of don't need to exist if they keep going deeper down some of these paths. That's not particularly ideal, and I have a pretty damning comment about that in a moment. But um, yeah, they're basically like they are finding ways to automate or simplify tasks, which can be pretty interesting. Um, One of the things that they did is kind of like a proof of concept that was really wild but also interesting. Apparently they asked to have Gemini create an entire operating system from scratch. And according to them, it costs about $1,000 in tokens. Um, but it was able to generate an actual functioning operating system, or so they claimed, and it was capable of playing Doom, which was an interesting demo, uh, and a very short demo. I get the impression they didn't really want to risk that wasn't going to go very far. Um, Wait a second. Oh, there. Oh, that's weird. Wait, what is happening with that? Um, there should be music playing in both of these scenes, but it appears there is not. Okay, that's weird. Um, okay, well, we'll just leave it on this one then. Uh, okay, so, ba ba ba. Oh, I know why. Yeah, okay, that's a thing I'll fix later. Um, anyway, so yeah, a lot of what they were showing off was pretty cool. It is very interesting, and at this point, I fully admit I I was getting lost in some of their announcements. They were they were rattling off things that even I'm just sitting there going, uh, it's too it's too hard to follow the process of where they're trying to describe going in a coding session. Um, it was hard to picture some of the things that they were talking about doing. And admittedly, part of that, the whole time I'm sitting there going, well, how much does it cost to do a given thing? And it was very telling that they never really referenced that. All they did was say, if companies started using uh, uh, Gemini 3, or sorry, Gemini 3, anyway, the 3.5 Flash, 3.5 Flash model, it would cut something like, I believe they said 70% of the cost most companies are incurring, which kudos, of course, to lowering the cost. Like lowering the expense of running AI is fantastic. I'm all in favor on that. But it felt very concerning to me that a lot of this just keeps coming back to basically you type a prompt and hope it's not too expensive, basically. Which that's the part where I kind of struggle a little bit. Um, let's see, Hoopy, you said the one thing about Anti-Gravity 2 that intrigued me was how they mentioned that the dynamic apps, Spark, and something else I think were all called Anti-Gravity under the hood. Yeah. And this gets back to, oh my god, their branding is, there are places where they have too many names for one thing and sometimes too many things that share the same name, and it's really hard to keep track of any of it. Um, let's see. They also talked up the web guidance, the modern web guidance thing, which was, I understood it, I think, but it was really hard to it was hard to tell exactly what they were saying. It sounded kind of like basically we're just handing like brand new web standards to AIs and they're just figuring out what the best practices and how to use them. Like they're just figuring it out at this point and sort of just doing the code for people, which I get how that's going to work in some cases, but I'm not sure that's going to be too reliable in others. It I don't know. They sort of admitted finally that a lot of this stuff only worked in the past because they were basically copying other people's work. So, I don't know. Hoopy saying, well, I think a lot of their pitches are to devs were just, hey, we have an agentic coding tool too. Uh, you think the meta narrative felt a lot like OpenAI and Anthropic can fight over who is the better at agentic coding. We're actually shipping real AI apps now. Uh, I don't know. I'm not sure I agree with that. I think with obviously they were already doing some agentic coding, but I feel like this was Google, at least the developer keynote. This was Google like stepping fully into that ring and saying, "Yeah, we're ready to fight over agentic coding too." Um, maybe maybe I'm not getting the full context because I don't follow this as closely, but I really got a strong sense that they're pushing pretty hard to get that to get developers into that as just the default work mode. Um, so I don't know. Maybe I'm totally missing what's going on there. Um, so yeah. All right. And this blog post mentions what has to be the next major topic to break into, which is the holy crap levels of pricing. So previously they announced a wackadoo ultra plan that was $250 a month. I say wackadoo, I probably shouldn't, because I'm sure there are people out there that are probably using that and actually running through their allotment of credits. But yeah, so they've introduced a new plan. It is also an AI Ultra plan. It's going to be $100 per month. With that, you get 20 terabytes of storage, um, a lot of credits for AI use. Um, let's see. Very notably, they're using a lot of comparative language. So here they say Gemini app usage with limits that are 5 times higher than the Google AI Pro plan. Really, let me select the damn text. What is going on with that? Okay, I guess. Well, fine. We're just gonna select that part. Um, yeah. So they're not really telling you like exact precise numbers. They're just comparing it to the AI Pro plan, and then so you look to the AI Pro plan, and that's 4 times higher than without a Google AI plan. Okay, well, how much you? No, stop, quiet. Yes, thank you. All right, I gotta just turn that off when I start streaming. Um, so yeah, it sort of bugs me a little bit that they're being quite so uh unclear with anything when you pay for it. That's just a bad practice in my mind. Anyway, so in addition to introducing the $100 plan, they have also reduced the $250 plan down to 200. So, congrats, I guess. It's good to see that they're uh, able to make savings of that type. Um, I also find it amusing that they still won't do annual billing on anything over the this plan, the base Google AI Pro plan. Also, it's funny to me that we now have two Google AI Pro plans, two Google AI Ultra plans, and fine, you can delineate them by the storage space, but it's just kind of weird. Like, why is there a why not just come up with different names? It seems like that would be the better strategy. Anyway, Hoopy. The main context is that people are saying Gemini 3.5 is super token hungry and not very good for coding once cost is taken into account. In their defense, trying to explain Gemini Pro tokens versus VO tokens versus Lyria tokens versus Nano Banana tokens, and also keeping everything honest while constantly tweaking the quotas would be insanity. Okay, I will agree on that. Um, it just feels kind of like, hey, you could at least give some concrete numbers somewhere, even if they're changing all the time. You know, something that people can go off of and say, oh, I have X number of tokens that I can use in this set period of time, or something to go off of. It's a little bit weird just to say, oh, you get a amorphous amount of usage here. No one knows how much that is, but you get 5 times that usage if you go with this other one. Okay, thanks. That doesn't mean anything. Um, uh, I should play around with the new AI Studio Android app for vibe coding. Okay, so first off, unless I'm mistaken, that doesn't come out for what, like 2 weeks or something? I swear they said that was going to be coming out later. Um, the mobile app at least. It's already live. Okay. Um, let's see. Okay. So Hoopy, current Gemini usage quota screen. After a few quick questions on Android and a single Omni video, and you're at basically quarter usage for the day. Um, oh, and that's not even that's without a AI Pro plan. Or wait, what? Oh, never mind. I misread that. That makes sense. Okay, so that is with an AI Pro plan. Um, uh, okay, that's interesting. Um, yeah. Well, one of these days I do want to sit down and start messing with that. And I have done some uh I have done some coding with not with AI Studio, but yeah, I'll have to pull this. I'll mess with this later. Um I have done some coding using Gemini, but not with AI Studio in particular. And I downloaded Anti-Gravity 1.0 sometime back when it was announced, and honestly, I completely forgot to ever do anything with it. So I think I launched it once, promptly closed it, and then didn't touch it again after that. So yeah, I downloaded 2.0 already. I have it installed. I just haven't done anything with it. So I'll be messing with that sometime fairly soon. Um, but yeah, I know the mobile version of AI Studio isn't live yet. I will mess with this at some point. Um, oh, it's quarter usage for a 5 hour period. Okay. Um, you do most of your AI coding with JetBrains Junie. How have I never heard of that one? Defaulting to Gemini 3 flat. Oh, okay. I see. Junie is the interface. Um, the work has gotten Kiro, the one that screwed up AWS. Nice. And now Claude Code. Yeah, honestly, like, I'm curious, and I'm sure that we're going to hear a lot about it, but I'm very curious what Gemini 3.5 Pro versus Claude Code is going to look like. Or, well, you know what I mean. I know I am misusing the names at this point, but yeah, at some point, I think we're getting closer to the point where we're just going to see that OpenAI is not going to keep up on coding, um, which is basically going to I think is going to pretty much hand that win to Google and Anthropic. We'll see though. Obviously, like, I'm not actively doing this, and I'm only following what little I have had time to focus on. So we'll see. I could be completely misunderstanding or misreading those situations, but um, Codex is pushing it on Claude. Interesting. I have not heard of Codex. And see, that's part of the problem too. I honestly, like, I've tried to some extent to follow what's going on, and I swear every week there's a new major popular tool, or a new model, or a new interface, or a new IDE or something, and it's like, I don't have time. I literally just can't follow everything. um okay, Codex is OpenAI's thing. Got it. uh but yeah, it's too hard to keep up with all of it when you don't have like active use with any of it. Um, but yeah. Anyway, which actually this reminds me. Hold on. I think I never activated my Pro plan when I got the Pixel 10. Well, Pixel 10 Pro XL. So, hold on. Gonna do that really quickly and see if. Uh, um, okay, I see my conversations. Uh, this is gonna sound like a weird thing, but where is settings? Oh, okay. Never mind. Um, oh, come on, you. Okay, I guess I am on Pro now. They really screwed up the interface for this. Okay. Yeah. No, it seems fine. Um. Uh. Let's see. So, oh yeah, the YouTube Premium thing. Also, I meant to look into that. I wanted to dig into that subject a little deeper too. Um. So. Okay. One of the things that they. Well, okay. Let me read the conversation first. Oh, actually, I wanted to check one other thing. I know this is super exciting um, conversation as I'm trying to sort like 10 different things. Um, wait, is that correct? Out of curiosity, actually, that you said go to settings and check for offers. That's in the Gemini app, correct? And is check for offers going to be there if you don't have, or if you've already taken the upgrade? Um, because I don't see it here, but I think that's. Oh, the Google One app. Okay, that makes more sense. Um, yeah, thanks. I don't need the stupid animations. Um, okay. All right. So, yep. Apparently, I had not activated that yet. I'm not sure I should activate it right now. I could probably wait, but whatever. Um, uh, okay. All right, good. So that's sorted, I think. Yep, good. Now it changed the page. That's what I was expecting. Okay, so good. Um, all right. Cool. So caught up on that. Uh, Hoopy AI Pro is shared with Google family members. By the way, pretty worthwhile for you alongside YouTube Premium Family. Yeah. So eh, kind of the thing with that. So they obviously announced recently. I think it was before I/O. That YouTube Premium Lite is now included. Um, Premium Lite is an interesting choice. So let's see. They've got to have a page on this, right? That compares them. Um, Maybe they don't. Okay, well, at least it's not that page. How about this one? Um, okay, well, the description of Premium Lite. To quote, Premium Lite is a new lower priced YouTube Premium membership that offers fewer interruptions so you can watch most YouTube and YouTube Kids videos ad free, offline, and in the background. So, the features that I've argued for ages they probably should not, or at least one feature they shouldn't be charging for, background playback. I still think that that shouldn't have a price on it. That should just be free. Uh, Offline downloads, yeah, that's fine. Ad free, that's fine. Um, so the thing that is like unclear to me is where they define most videos will be ad free, but not all. Um, I do question that, and I'm unclear. Uh, Okay, I guess this does say it. With YouTube Premium Lite, you won't get ads on videos like gaming, fashion, beauty, news, and more. Ads, however, may still appear on music, shorts, and when you search or browse. Yeah, not gonna lie, it's still worth the extra couple bucks to not see it there either. Um, okay, so yeah. Anyway, I'm sorry, but it bugs me that they decided to go with YouTube Premium Lite if they're going to include something. I honestly I really want that to be proper premium, and you don't get that until you go to one of the ultra plans. Um just to make it easier to see. Yeah, so um on with the pro plans you get the YouTube Premium Lite for individual, and on the ultra plans it bumps you up to YouTube Premium proper, which yeah, that's fair, but at the very least I kind of wish they either discounted YouTube Premium proper if you're going to go to one of the pro plans, or just give it across the board. I don't know, something like it. It's annoying because of that. Also, I'm doing a shared plan or a family plan. So just no discount, no nothing. Kind of annoying. Like, do something for the family plans, please. They raised the price on family plans, and here's a thing where I could get a discount, but I can't. Um Strictly speaking, though, at this point, if I wanted to, could I could probably, well, I wouldn't save money, but I could probably switch off of a family plan and go to individuals and save a few bucks, but I'm not sure that's worth it. Plus, I want to be on an actual proper YouTube Premium plan, not the light plans. So, Google, you're making things difficult for no good reason. Um, let's see. Oh, and Carson's saying you're waiting for your current trial to expire before you activate. I I'm not really sure what I was on then, but whatever. I'm not going to worry too much about it, because if it makes itself worthwhile, then eventually I'll just either pay for it or it'll just keep coming with the phones. That is, by the way, one of the things that I think is I'm really wondering about, because if the cost of offering AI is coming down, and Google uh, has been attracting enough people by offering AI plans with the phones, or at least presumably people are incentivized to upgrade each year. Uh, then are they going to eventually stop offering the AI plans with the phones? Or is that just going to be like a thing that continues? Because frankly, the cost of upgrading the phone each year being less than the cost of the plans is kind of incentivizing just upgrade your phone every year and sell off your old one or trade it in or whatever. Um uh Hoopy, you were already paying for the Google One plan before it was rebranded as AI Pro. Uh, so I mean, I've been paying for a a one plan for a long time anyway, but I was always paying for the lowest plan, um, the really cheap one that was like 200 gigs per month, I think, or 100 gigs per month. Um, yeah, I was paying for that for the longest time, and I would keep bouncing back to that whenever like trials ran out or whatever. But yeah, at this point, I'm down to just upgrade my phone every year if they're going to keep handing out AI Pro uh, uh, plans, just because that's why not? Like like I said, the cost of upgrading the phone every year is less than the cost of paying for that plan. Um, at least once you factor in trade-ins and everything like that. Like it's just so much cheaper, and you're getting more out of it. It warrant. Plus, you have a phone that sort of retains its value by virtue of cycling every year. Honestly, it's getting too cheap to not do that. Or sorry, it's getting you know what I mean. The cost is so low. If you're not doing that, you're kind of missing out in a big way. So yeah, I think at this point I'm pretty much locked into continuous upgrades. Um. Uh. All right. What were the other thing? Oh man, this is going back so far. But all right, I can kill that topic. Um. Also, for everything else aside, Google One is kind of a good deal if you have a lot of file storage needs. Yeah. Well, I don't anymore. I mean, I was having trouble staying under the 200 gig line, I think is where I was at. But now, like, I have so much cloud storage allocation, I'm really not worried about it anymore. um, at some point, I will find some use for this, and probably even that may even become problematic. But for right now, yeah, I already back up all my photos and videos at full quality, at original quality rather. So, um, yeah, that's perfect for me. I am extremely happy to just let that be a thing. Um, and given some plans that I have, I will probably actually start using that extra storage space as a like just as a backup whenever I do video capture on my phones. Um, I because why not? Like if the storage is there, it may as well be there to be used. Um, okay, so I actually need to go pretty soon too, but I wanted to call out I think one of the worst, most tone deaf moments of the keynote. There was a story, and this was meant to be a feel good story. It was I'm sure some people will remember this. Um oh, hold on. Hoopy, you said also the Drive desktop app finally added support for virtual streaming files like Dropbox, so it doesn't suck to use. Yeah, that does help. Okay, so They had this feel good story about a woman in, I believe she was in New York, and she she said she needed to hire a dishwasher like within the next few hours or something. And so she, quote, had an aha moment and decided that she wanted to create a job board that would, I guess what it does, as far as I can tell, is it just auto translates uh, job like the job descriptions and requirements to whatever language you pick. I think that's all it was doing, and it was meant to be kind of a local thing, or I think it was. I'm pretty sure she said that it was being used by 13,000 people in that area. I could be mistaken on a couple details there. I know the number was 13,000. Um, that's how many are using her site. Okay, great. So this is 13,000 people, not all of which I'm sure getting jobs, but a good portion, let's assume they must be, or something. Can we highlight the fact that this is literally getting jobs for a very tiny portion of people compared to the well over 100,000 who lost middle class jobs? Some of the last few places where middle class jobs actually still existed have been pretty much evaporated thanks to AI. But this was supposed to be a feel good story about maybe as many as 13,000 people getting minimum wage jobs or barely above minimum wage jobs. I don't think they understood how much this story does not actually mitigate how much damage has been done. Like this is sort of like being a really mega polluter and then saying, "Oh, but we bought some carbon credits to offset 10% of it." Like that's not really better. So yeah, I mean, over the last 2 years, we've just seen Microsoft and Google and Facebook and Amazon, definitely Amazon, just cutting jobs left and right, and they're cutting developers and they're cutting uh, like HR people and they're cutting various people in marketing, and again, it's the professional jobs that are kind of vanishing, and in their place they're hiring maybe couple a couple more people to be janitors or to wash some dishes or something like that. It, this is not mitigating damage. It's just trying to say, oh, but hey, a good thing happened over there, please pay attention to that. That story really, honestly, this needs to be like anyone who really wants to take shots at Google needs to be paying attention to that story, because it was exactly the opposite of what they were trying to brand it as. um Hoopy, it felt like a desperate pull for anyone at all that they could find to say AI was good and cool and help them that was also some kind of normal human being. Yeah, yeah, that's exactly it. 100%. They they managed to, and I'll give them credit. Like, it sounds like a good story. It was presented in a good way, but it just takes a minute of reading between the lines when you can turn around and go, oh, but no, actually, like, people are still losing way more jobs, and the difference in type of jobs, like people who went to college for years and probably still have college debt. Uh, a lot of them are are out there desperately looking for a job, whereas, oh, good, someone who probably already had a job might switch to a different restaurant or pick up a second gig or something. Which, great. I'm not disputing that that's good for them. I'm happy for them. But it doesn't mitigate all the bad things that have happened to everybody else. So yeah, they're kind of, again, this, it was tone deaf. Um and It's funny how AI is supposedly being used to make everyone's jobs better, but it's also getting balanced against, yeah, but it's fewer people's jobs. At the end of the day, it's fewer and fewer people are working these jobs because of this. So, uh, yeah, keep making money off of an increasingly smaller group of people. Um, okay, so what a happy note to end on, right? Um, all that being said, oh, I also that's right. There was one other thing I just had to call out, which I thought was hilarious. Um, so for anyone who has looked at it, the Google anti-gravity page, um, if you go to that and click on pricing, it takes you to this page. Anyone notice anything weird about a pricing page here? There's exactly one price shown anywhere for individuals. Wow, really? They took over zooming on this page. It's forced into just scrolling up and down. That's messed up. Okay, anyway, the four individuals uh plan, or not even plan, but whatever. Yeah, they can use anti-gravity for free. Congrats. Um but then yeah, designed by Gemini 3.5 exactly. And then you've got these others here. No prices listed. Nothing. It's a pricing page to pop up. Um, it's just really weird to me that they have so many things here that don't have prices on them. Why? Anyway, so just I felt like that needed to be called out. uh okay, so yeah. Again, that was Google I/O. Um I'm sure there's more that I could have said about it, but I am blanking on anything else at the moment. I'm sure if I went looking through uh, this topic chart that Austin had generated, which look, I will say this looks cool. It's a neat idea. It just didn't. It's not the most useful to use when the uh, zooming is messy and how they drew the text kind of sucks. That's not your fault though. That's just it. It did its thing, and uh, there it is. Um, but it does look cool, no matter what. It just straight up kind of looks cool. Um, designed by Gemini 3.5. Yeah, exactly. Um, Oh, and Hoopy, you said makes you wonder how much things like AI Studio in its current form exists as a legitimate business venture, and how much it exists to play lip service PR to the idea that AI is for normal people. It, can't it be both? I mean, it. This is, oh man, I'm about to turn this into such a hostile spin on the conversation, but uh, look, Elon Musk bought Twitter and um turned it into a propaganda site with a bunch of that increased the number of bots and basically was there just to make it look like uh, there's actually um, as many people who believe in that narrative as they want it to look like, and in reality is definitely mostly bogus. But it doesn't mean he didn't still want to try to make money off of it too. Like that's the thing. It can still be a business venture while also being a thing that is designed for their own self purposes, or their own self interest. Sorry. Um, Austin asked it to suck. Nice. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I get what you're saying. I like the point. I but Yeah, I think Google is looking at AI Studio and a lot of the products that they're pushing out and sort of spinning that as things for the normies. And in some cases, they kind of are. And if it works, it works. But I don't think they know if it's going to work or even care if it's going to work. They're just going to try it. They're going to put something out there, and hey, maybe this will be the thing that takes off, and suddenly some random group of, I don't know, I'm just spitballing random groups here, but maybe all of a sudden one day a plumber will come across this and go, "Oh, I've got a genius idea for this." And next thing you know, suddenly all plumbers are going to be using it. Or um maybe I don't know, musicians or playwrights or whatever. Playwrights, yeah, that's a big group to advertise to. But some random group will all of a sudden pick it up, realize there's this mystery function that everyone overlooked, and wow, it's suddenly the next big hot tool for a particular group. So, and like I said, like that goes beyond AI Studio. That can be for anything. Um, Anything within the Gemini spotlight could fit that. And just like was it who was it? It was OpenAI that did that, or was it? Who was it that did the social network where all you do is generate videos and post generated videos? Like that was it. That was the purpose of it. It was sort of like Instagram, but for AI generation. Um, Somebody out there thought that that was a really clever idea. They were wrong, but someone did think it. And you never know. They're really Sora. Yeah, Sora. That's it. Um, yeah, it was a terrible idea, but you never know. Maybe something like that will be the thing that catches on with some group somewhere. Maybe they could have been hoping that like some group of like 13-year-olds would suddenly pick it up and it would become the next viral trend, and 13-year-olds would just be super obsessed with going and generating goofball videos, and hey, look at that, it's funny. And now that we've got a huge following, we'll add a fee to it, or a higher fee or whatever. Your parents will pay for it, and boom, we make billions. Who knows? It's tough to read the mind of Google execs, or the execs of any AI company at this state, because holy crap, are they all really getting scary. Okay. Anyway, yeah. So IO. Look, I'm gonna say something crazy. IO this year I thought was better than at least IO of last year and probably the year before. It's kind of hard to remember. The years have started blending together, but this one at least felt a little coherent. Despite all the branding, despite the fact that at times they were definitely pushing some dumb narratives or some bad examples of how to use their products. At the very least, I felt like I was watching a company that knew that they had something to show off, that a person, normal or not normal, could look at and go, "Okay, I get it. Like these are products I could use or someone I know could use." Whereas I felt like last year I didn't know who Google was advertising to with IO. Because these keynotes are just big advertisements. When Apple gets up and talks about new products and anything that they're doing, when WWDC happens, it is just a big ad. And Google I/O is no different. Well, the keynote is no different, though I would argue I/O as a whole is no different. Um, so last year, I don't think they knew what they were selling. I don't I don't think they had any sort of plan or idea of what they were doing with this stuff. This year, at least it seemed coherent and like they knew how to pitch some of this stuff to a normie, how to pitch some of this stuff to developers, how to pitch some of this stuff to the executive group, to you know, to the working parents, like those, all those different groups. There at least was a message for each of them, something that they could tell to people and be like, hey, you want this. I don't think they had that last year, so I get it. I it, that felt, at least in terms of presentation, this felt like a better presentation. Um, but that's also probably the most uh, optimistic take you could give. Um, uh, you want to, Hoopy saying, you want to know why I think it felt a bit blurred together and confusing? Because some announcements weren't punctuated with the usual and will launch in the coming months, next spring, etc. Fair point. Um, well, if we look back, well, there was a lot of stuff here in this one where they actually had like, this is rolling out today, or well, this is available today, or it's available in a few weeks or a month, because like Gemini 3.5 Pro, I remember them saying, give us a month. Like there were weirdly specific, like it's almost ready, give us a month. And it's like, okay, sure, I guess. So you just didn't have your homework done and you need one more month? All right, whatever. Um, Products launching during I/O, never been done before. That's fair. That's very fair. Um, I mean, they used to, though. If you go back in history, they actually used to launch products at I/O. I remember Google Play Music when that launched. It was day one of I/O. They were like, "Hey, we're launching this thing, and you can get your trial right now." And I remember waiting, because there was no reason for me to do it. Uh, I remember waiting until I was driving back from Google I/O before I activated my trial. But yeah, I they used to launch stuff during I/O. It just, at a certain point they got into the uh, I remember, I think it was the year that they launched Allo and Duo. Uh, I could be wrong. I could easily be wrong, but I think it was that year they launched like almost nothing, like literally almost nothing during the event. Every single thing had a coming in, coming this quarter, coming before the end of the year, uh coming this fall, um coming soon. I don't know. They had a lot of those like wish-washy, someday someday it will be a thing, but it's not today. So yeah, you're right though. It has felt like so much stuff is always somewhere off in the future. This time around, a lot of it was like available today or very soon. uh what's new in Wear OS 7? Did this just get, oh no, this wasn't just posted. For a second I was gonna say like, okay. I do need to go pretty quick, but new Wear OS 7 widgets tiles look bad on rounded screens. Oh. Yeah, they do. Wow. That that seems odd, in a very, very odd way. Like, why? Quick scroll down. Okay. So, yeah, I can skim through these real quick. So yeah, the widgets, some of these fine. I like, I'm not even going to have a strong opinion on a few of these, but I look at the second one in this list. That one in particular, that one pisses me off because they could make each of those people's images a little bit larger and just make it so that they're a circle around the screen. That's it. Just a circle around the. I was about to reach up and try to point, but yeah, it's that one. If they just made each of those like just circle around the screen of each of those 6 images, they could make them bigger. Like, why not do that? Why do it in this shape? This is so dumb. Uh, that one specifically, they screwed up. Actually, you know what? I'm also going to argue this one here at the end. Uh, there, that one. This one, same story. You have a big radial dial actually on the widget that should encircle the whole screen, and then put the rest of the details inside of the circle somewhere. Better use of space, more dynamic, more interesting. The other two, okay, those are things that kind of have a horizontal shape and design to them, so harder to do much with that. But yeah, so they screwed up that much. Good job, guys. Basic assignment failed. Live updates. You can use the live updates to surface real-time important information from your watch or mobile app, providing your users with timely updates at a glance. In your watch app, use live update. Isn't this... Couldn't you do this already? Like, whatever. I don't know. I guess. Oh wait. Oh no. Okay, no. I remember this now. Yeah. So this is a feature that was added to Android 16. No. Wait. Sorry. This is a feature we talked about when the 17 beta first came out. That's right. Or I talked about it. I don't think Corbin was around for it. But yeah. Okay. This is a good feature. It's just not the most interesting necessarily. Just heard a weird sound to my left, I think. But yeah, okay, so this is a cool feature. It's a little reminiscent, in my opinion, of the Storage Dynamic Island stuff that Apple did, but not exact. Well, maybe not Dynamic Island, but the one that they did for the Notch. Or oh no, sorry, it was Dynamic Island where they added that. But yeah, there's some good stuff here. It's a small version of some of what they did in that, and so it's a nice improvement. Let's see. Connect your app to the intelligence system. We're working on several ways for developers to provide agentic experiences on the watch, from app functions to task automation tools. We'll announce these on our developer blog when they're ready, and provide an all-encompassing developer guide to help you choose the right one and craft a robust implementation. For now, here's a quick look. Okay. What are we looking at? Okay, so ask it to track the run. Pulls up Samsung Health. That's it? Okay. That's not a very good convincing example, but sure. The App Functions API allows developers to integrate their apps with agents and assistants. This is the same thing that's in Android. It's not really a Wear thing. Task automation, same story. But yeah, these are good features. I'm just very curious how they're going to play out. Especially on a watch, actually. Okay, so we've got a workout tracker. This is what, like the 12th one that they've made. We know that building a full-featured, high-quality fitness tracking experience on Wear OS from scratch is resource-intensive, so we built the all-new Wear workout tracker experience for exercise apps. It will be included in Wear OS later in the year. The workout tracker provides a rich, standardized workout tracking experience, which includes heart rate monitoring, media control, and a collection of other useful features to help you reduce development investment while guaranteeing a high quality experience for your users. So, this is a front end for other workout apps. I actually don't mind that. I think that's a decent idea. Okay, you know what? I'm in favor of. I don't particularly like a lot of the interfaces I've seen on workout apps, so I think I'm okay with the idea of something like this. Um, maybe. Uh, the rest just feel like, or okay, about the live updates notification thing. This is for sure, or Hoopy saying this is for sure the dynamic island stolen feature going from phones to watches. I don't want to call it stolen because strictly speaking, if you really want to get picky about it, Android actually did it first. Um, if you go back to that point in history where Android was, or well, Google was screwing around with making notifications very flexible. I specifically remember this was at the same time Google Plus was still around, for reference, um, and they added APIs to allow notifications to be super flexible. You could do all kinds of stuff with them, and one of the things that they added was like a dynamic player control, which still exists, um, so that you could basically change where in a track you were. Um, and so that existed at that time, and they've since re-implemented that in a slightly different way. But so they did it first, and then Apple later didn't copy that for notifications, but they did copy, or not copy, but they basically kind of implemented the same thing for Dynamic Island, uh, but with a different focus on it, or a different use case would be the better word for it. Um, and now Google is just kind of taking back that same idea, and it's not something that developers weren't already doing. I mean, I did something like that for an app. Um, and I was doing just dynamic rights to notifications. But yeah, it's not something that everybody was keen on doing. Um, let's see. Let's see. You said that's fair. The only real difference is that ongoing activities thing gets to show up on the ambient display and some special treatment in the notifications. Yep, exactly. It's just prioritizes that notification, which the examples that are given so far, I'm in favor of. I am fully expecting that's going to get abused eventually. Um, there will come a point where someone's like, "Oh, I can if I show live notification, I can just have my notification up there all the time." And yeah, I guarantee this is going to get abused. But, it is what it is. Uh um it's very neat for public transit on maps. That's good to know. I haven't used any public transits with an iPhone, so I can't say, but or even with, or recently, I should even say. But yeah, that'll be interesting to see then. Okay, let's see. You said the rest just feel like incremental improvements and the pre-built workout toolkit for Spice. Okay. Um, let's see. So skimming over the rest of these. Enhanced system media controls in Wear OS 7. Yeah, I'm gonna say good, but man, I don't like I don't use the one I have. Very rarely. I actually have found that I kind of get annoyed by it because every time I start my car, it pops up. So I'm constantly getting that popping up. Um, Users can now personalize their media auto launch experience per app directly from the system media controls on the watch. For any app where the user has auto launch settings toggled on, media controls will automatically appear on the watch when media is started on the phone. Developers with an existing implementation of the media apps that extend on the watch can benefit from this feature without additional effort. Okay. Seamless audio routing with the remote output switcher. Okay, that's kind of cool. So you can, if you're, yeah, okay. So if you don't want to like go over to your phone to switch where media is routing to, you can just do it on the watch. That's actually cool. I don't. That's not a feature currently, right? And like this isn't just some adjustment to that, because that is actually very cool. I don't know that I'll use it that often. I don't have a whole lot of places where I would reroute music to, but music or podcast. But yeah, that's awesome. Um, Carson, you wish you Android Auto could default to expanded YouTube Music rather than always Google Maps. Uh, okay, so weirdly, sometimes on mine it will pop up YouTube Music expanded for no reason. I don't know why it does it. And I wish it wouldn't. Like, I almost never want that to be the main view. I almost always want maps up. And a lot of times I kind of wish I could just default to maps fully expanded instead of the tile view. I like the tile view sometimes, but most of the time I really just want the play button to be down at the bottom so I can just hit it and go. Like I yeah. They need to there's so much about Android Auto that I wish they would fix. There are a few things they need to put behind settings. There's so many basic functions that need to be corrected. I am yeah, man, I've been spending a lot of time in my car and I do not want it to behave the way it does in so many instances. Uh, which, by the way, Hoopy, this was brought up a few weeks back, and somebody said that you have Android Automotive, or I think you do, or Google built-in, which I hate that branding. Um, so first off, I just got to say I am getting more and more tempted to try to get a car with Android Automotive because Android Auto is annoying me in ways. Like, don't get me wrong, I recognize it is still better than any manufacturer system, and I think it's better than CarPlay, or at least the experience I've had with CarPlay previously. I've heard CarPlay has gotten better, so maybe it has surpassed Android Auto. I don't know, but yeah, I really want to try Android Automotive at this point. Um, so I have kind of a weird question. And I don't know, maybe you have not had any experience with this yet, so we'll see. But uh, if you are using a phone that pops up like an address and pops it over to Google Maps, how much trouble or how quickly can you, uh, like on your phone specifically, how quickly can you make that a navigation destination on the car? Um, Hoopy got that caddy. A couple weird quirks you blame GM for more than Android. Well, I both companies I'm sure are guilty of plenty of quirks. Um, but yeah, that's my first question, and then a second question for anyone who has a folding phone. Um, because I've yet to actually try a folding phone, and I know I could look this up elsewhere, but do both apps actually run simultaneously? If you have apps setups to display side by side, are they both running simultaneously? Like if something happens within one while it's not the focused app or whatever, do you actually see anything on screen? Is it regularly updating, or do you have to do anything else with it? Um, so yeah, I think those are the two questions that immediately come to mind. Um, because if both of those, yes, both are fully active. Um, they're normal push notifications, but few of them. I'm not sure what that means. Um, oh, you can hit send to car. Got it. Okay. Yeah, looking at that screenshot makes a lot of sense. Okay. Um, the apps technically run in the background, but they're not allowed to actually do much. Okay. I mean, I don't think it's a big deal, but there's a few things that I'd kind of yeah, it probably just doesn't matter. I don't think that's a problem. Just curious about it. Um, wow, that is first off, what is going on with all the ads in that in the left hand side? Um, okay, and then YouTube on the right. Got it. Uh, oh, sorry. With folding phones, I'm not. I'm not folding phone. I'm not really asking about it. It that in relation to automotive. Um, I'm just trying to figure out if two apps running side by side, if you'll be able to see visual updates to one of them if it's getting like new data or something. Um, I'm not like trying to run videos or something side by side. I'm just curious if like on one side you can have one app that's just up with some information on it, and then the other side another app with information. Both of them could in theory be making some occasional updates. That's all I'm really looking for, but or rather all I really wanted to check. And one of these days I'm sure I'll get to tinker with it and find out, but I just haven't yet. Um but I am, believe it or not, and I feel weird even saying it, but I am toying with the idea this fall I might get a folding phone. Um uh okay. Um but yeah, you wouldn't be shocked. Got it. I figured I read that twice and it's like, yeah, that phrasing he definitely meant definitely meant it the other way. Um yeah, so I'm toying with the idea of getting a folding phone. I haven't committed to it or anything, but it's there. Uh and if I do, I hate saying these words, but I'm pretty sure what I would do is actually get a Pixel 11 Pro, probably the XL, but maybe not. But also get a folding phone. And yeah, the trade-in value on Pixel Folds is terrible. The trade-in value on any folding phone is going to be awful for many, many years, if not if it ever gets good. Um, but it could make life easier for it could make life easier for me, so that's why I'm contemplating it. That's it. I'm in contemplation mode. That's as far as that'll go. And what I could even do, I'm even toying with maybe not even getting the new one, maybe getting an older one, and take advantage of the fact that the that I can just get it for cheaper. And Yeah, I don't know. It's things that are just running around in my head. Uh, but I haven't committed to anything yet. Frankly, before that, I'd much rather get if I want to spend money on anything right now, I'd rather spend it on getting a car with Android Automotive, especially an electric. I really want to get an electric car at this stage. Um, get a 10A, a Pixel tablet, and still save a few $100. Yeah, but for reasons that are hard to explain, I need it all in one phone. Um, that's the tricky part is I need it in one phone. Um, I'll talk about this sometime in the future, just not right now. Um, let's see. Also, I'm just skimming down here, and I don't see anything else. I see some developer stuff here. Um, composed for Wear OS 1.6, fine. It's just a few more things in Compose you can do. Um, proto layout and tiles, inline. Okay, yeah, those are just relatively standard improvements. Watch face format version 5. A few nice things, but mostly not too exciting. Okay, so that pretty much covered all the Wear stuff. Um, let's see, and if I switch to that, okay, yeah, that's still working. All right, let's see. So, yeah, I have a lot of stuff I want to look into, but I'm not spending any money now. It's just a later this year kind of thing. We'll see how that plays out, because yeah, there would be a few upgrades I'd like to make. Um, okay, and before I forget, I'm gonna break off the tab for Google AI Studio because I do actually want to check that out a little bit more. Maybe not for the next little bit, but somewhere in the next week or two. Um, and cool, we covered all these other tabs. Awesome. Okay, so yeah, like I said earlier, I do need to get going. I overshot by quite a bit from when I said that, but yeah, I have to take off. Um, let's see. Thank you for the answers on that too, because gives me a little bit to think on. Anyway, so I will be back this weekend for some gaming. Probably going to be. Uh, actually, I don't know what it'll be. It may be Horizon Zero Dawn. It might be Overwatch. We shall see. Uh, with that, thanks everyone for coming by, hanging out, being part of the stream and the conversation. Uh, let's see. I will be back, of course, next week with another RambleCast. I'll be flying solo for the next two. Corbin is got other things planned, and then of course after that it'll be WWDC, so he'll be back for that one. All right. Let's see. And and of course, if you'd like to support the channel, there are links down below to Cash App, Streamlabs, and Patreon. And of course, huge thanks to supporters of the channel: David, Diablo, Austin, Carson, and Alyssa. Y'all are awesome human beings. Yeah, I think that's about it. So, thanks for joining on the Google I/O show, and I will see you all in the next one. Good night, everybody. Oop, as I hit the wrong button. I'm a genius. Now, good night, everybody.